Su Chen awakened a poison class whose damage could stack forever. Every monster killed by venom permanently raised that limit by one. His classmates expected another ordinary awakening on the school field. Instead, a scarlet phenomenon revealed a unique triple S rank Venom Mage. One touch applied every poison stack he currently possessed. Armor and magical resistance could not reduce the resulting true damage. His first poison monster died before it could reach him. That death raised his venom ceiling, making the next kill even faster. Within hours, Su Chen turned a beginner dungeon into his private hunting ground. By the end, even a silver-tier boss could not survive his scaling poison. Empire da Hua, Jenga Province, Tiana City. On the sports field of Tia City No. 1 High School, a gigantic fate star array glowed with faint blue luminescence. Today marked their coming-of-age ritual, the unified job awakening ceremony upon turning 18. At the vice principal's loud call, a plump boy nervously walked to the center of the array and pressed the issued awakening crystal into the reserved groove. The crystal dissolved into streaks of flowing light, and a gray card materialized midair. Farmer Lu Chang's face drained of color. His knees buckled and he nearly collapsed to the ground. Another life profession. That's the 70th one already. Not a single basic combat profession has shown up so far. Do you really think combat professions grow on trees? Getting 1 out of 10 is already a stroke of luck. Murmurs rippled loudly across the playground. Chun, I'm totally panicking. Wang Shaoli tugged at his faded yellow spiky hair from the back of the formation, his voice trembling. The drop rate is even worse than those gacha games. I just want a combat class, even a basic one. I don't want to spend my days farming or forging metal. Su Chen stuffed both hands into his pockets and watched the star array ahead with a calm gaze. Everyone before us is just filler luck. He joked casually, yet a flicker of anticipation stirred within him. He had transmigrated to this world a while ago and had pieced together its general rules. This was a reality fused with game mechanics where the planet Blue Star had expanded 10,000 times in size. Monsters, dungeons, and secret realms ran rampant across the wildlands. Every human unlocked their designated job upon reaching 18 years old. A rigid hierarchical divide segregated all professions in this world. Combat classes such as mages, warriors, and assassins made up merely 10% of awakenings, placing their holders firmly at top society's hierarchy. Support professions, including priests and array masters, accounted for 20%. These practitioners were highly sought after and fiercely recruited by major adventurer guilds wherever they went. Life jobs, farmers, blacksmiths, chefs, and similar roles occupied a staggering 70% of awakenings. Low in social standing, those with these professions were doomed to become cogs at the very bottom of society. Meanwhile, up on the observation platform, the vice principal wiped sweat from his forehead as he stared at the list filled exclusively with life class awakenings. His shirt soaked through with perspiration. Master He glanced cautiously toward Principal Hikai-shan. Hikai-shan sat in a wheelchair, his hair completely white and his features etched with age. Just then, a girl who had awakened chef trudged off the platform with tear-streaked cheeks. It's all right. Hikai-shan rolled his wheelchair over, his tone gentle and kind. Being a chef is nothing to dismiss. Once you reach high rank, the stat-boosting meals you craft will be fought over by the largest guilds. Every trade has its masters. The moment the girl left, Hikai-shan's expression darkened instantly. He stared hard at the awakening roster. His brows knotted tightly together. Damn it, this batch of students was far below standard. The enrollment performance of Tiha City's other high schools weighed heavily on his shoulders. If no talented individuals awakened today, the school's funding allocation for the next year would be slashed in half. Next up, Lin Xing. The vice principal's voice boomed out once more. Hearing this name, the furrow between Hikai-shan's brows softened. He sipped warm wolfberry tea from his cup. Lin Xing was the academy's sole hope for this cohort. The eldest daughter of the prestigious Lin clan of Tiana City. Groomed with abundant resources since childhood, the surrounding students naturally parted to clear a path for her. Lin Xing had delicate features secured with twin ponytails bound by golden ribbons that shimmered softly under sunlight. She stepped onto the platform with light, steady strides. Take it easy, Xing. A rare warm smile tugged at Hikishin's lips. Calm your mind and attune yourself to the magical currents flowing within the star array. Thank you, Principal. Lin Xing nodded politely and inserted her awakening crystal into the core socket of the array. The pale blue fate star array erupted in blazing golden radiance. A translucent holy apparition draped in gauze and clutching a scepter materialized above the formation. A glowing golden card drifted out from the array core and hovered before Lin Xing. S-rank hidden support profession veiled priestess. A blanket of silence fell over the entire field for a heartbeat. On the platform, Kaishan sprayed out his mouth full of tea. Several soaked wolfberry berries splattering straight onto the vice principal's face. He slammed his palm hard against the table, abandoning his gentle elderly principal facade entirely. An S-rank, a hidden support class at that. A priest, too. Every guild will be scrambling to sign her on. Priests were indispensable members of every dungeon party, boasting excellent career prospects compared to other support roles. A hidden variant of the priest class was guaranteed to spark fierce bidding wars among top-tier guilds whenever one appeared. Wang Shia's eyes bulged wide as saucers, gripping Su Chen's arm tightly. "Chun, did you see that? Our school beauty hit the jackpot with an S-rank hidden support job. It's undeniably an outstanding profession." Su Chen nodded, his gaze lingering on the faint golden aura wrapped around Lin Xing's figure while a sense of unease settled in his chest. "Oh no, is she going to pull ahead of me now?" Ever since Su Chen claimed first place in the school entrance assessment back in freshman year, Lin Xing had fixated on him as her lifelong rival, competing against him in every conceivable matter. They vied for top marks in theoretical courses and outperformed each other in practical drills without exception. Even trivial contests had become a competition between them. For 3 full years, she had never once managed to defeat him. Su Chen eventually grew tired of her competitiveness and proposed a wager. Whoever lost would acknowledge the other's superiority unconditionally. That agreement had quieted her relentless challenges somewhat. The mere thought of Lin Xing overtaking him filled Su Chen with solemn resolve. There was no way he would fall behind her today. Lin Xing stored her profession card and walked down from the platform. Countless envious and ingratiating stares locked onto her figure, yet she paid them no mind and headed straight for Su Chen at the back of the crowd. As students parted ways for her passage, she halted directly in front of him, tilted her fair chin upward, and fixed her bright eyes firmly on Su Chen, a triumphant smirk playing on her lips. "Little Su, did you witness it for yourself? An S-rank hidden class." Her clear voice brimmed with unrestrained pride. "I could never beat you in class exams or practical training for the past 3 years, but I finally won today." Su Chen watched her pining display and sighed slowly. "Sure thing. Miss Lin is unrivaled under heaven. You're just brushing me off." She stamped her foot and shot him a glare, her tone softening unintentionally as she lowered her voice. "It's your turn soon. If your awakening ends up being farmer or blacksmith, don't be too upset." Lin Xing looked away, scuffing the tip of her shoe against the ground awkwardly. "I can bring you along to run dungeons with me if things go badly for you. I'll always share my rewards with you. You don't seem to have much physical stamina anyway. I can easily cover your supplies and needs." Su Chen's mouth twitched awkwardly at her odd wording. "Quit talking nonsense. I'm perfectly capable of looking after myself." "Sure you are." Lin Xing raised her eyebrows playfully. "You're not scared right now, are you?" "Why on earth would I be scared?" Su Chen kept a straight face. Lin Xing leaned slightly closer and murmured quietly, "Don't worry. I'll always look out for you." "Cut that out." Su Chen's composure finally crumbled. Su Chen, the vice principal's call cut through their private exchange and drew everyone's gaze toward the platform. Su Chen composed his features, set aside his playful banter, and walked steadily upward. Hope flickered across Kaishan's face as he watched the young man. Su Chen had consistently ranked first in all theoretical coursework and possessed exceptionally stable mental fortitude. "Study your mind during the awakening," Kaishan instructed patiently. "Understood principle without unnecessary words." Su Chen placed his awakening crystal into the groove. Nothing happened at first. 1 second passed, then 2, just as the crowd began to suspect the array had malfunctioned. A towering scarlet pillar of light pierced the sky, overwhelming oppressive pressure washing over every corner of the sports field in an instant. Clouds overhead dyed sickly green and eerie. Unsettling wails echoed faintly from the void above. Good heavens! Scarlet light. Scarlet radiance only appears for one-of-a-kind hidden professions. The phenomenon is even grander than Lin Xing's awakening. Kaishan spat out more wolfberry seeds in shock, while the vice principal hastily conjured a magic barrier to block the flying debris. The elderly principal abruptly launched himself out of his wheelchair, his gaze glued intently to the center of the formation. A dark crimson card drifted slowly into view. Triple S, rank unique hidden combat profession. Venom Mage Triple S rank unique, hidden class, pure combat specialization. Are you kidding me? Su Chen, how are you this lucky? Has an Triple S rank combat hidden profession ever been recorded in history before? I understand each individual word, yet the combination is completely beyond comprehension. The card dissolved into countless glowing streaks that surged into his forehead, and a translucent pale blue interface materialized directly in his line of sight. Name: Su Chen level 10 experience profession, Venom Mage Triple S rank unique hidden strength. 5 agility, 8 stamina, 6 spirit, 25. Su Chen scanned his basic stats rapidly. As expected for a mage-type class, his spirit stat dwarfed all other attributes, clocking in at a staggering 25, more than double the baseline spirit value for ordinary mage professions. His eyes drifted downward to the most vital section. Exclusive class traits. Exclusive class traits. 1. Universal corrosion. Every form of your attack standard strikes, spells, and other offensive abilities inflicts an undispellable stack of venom onto targets automatically. Note: venom deals true damage equal to spirit times stack count per second, ignoring all physical armor and magical resistance. Effect duration 10 seconds. Current maximum venom stacks 1. Venom God's Touch. Any target afflicted with venom will always carry the maximum possible stack count of the poison effect. Each enemy eliminated via venom damage permanently raises your maximum venom stack limit by 1. Su Chen's pupils shrank sharply upon reading the 3 abilities, and he subconsciously held his breath. This skill design is absurdly overpowered for any human creator to conceive. Drawing on hundreds of game builds and strategies from his previous life, Su Chen instantly grasped how broken this profession truly was. The first trait enforced unavoidable true damage. With his current 25 spirit stat, a single stack of venom would deal 250 points of unmitigable true damage over 10 seconds. At this novice stage, where even basic level 1 monsters only possess a couple hundred health points total, any foe scratched by his attacks was as good as dead. Yet, this was far from the most overpowered aspect. Traits 2 and 3 were what sent a chill down his spine. Guaranteed maximum venom stacks on targets, paired with permanent stack cap increases for every kill secured through poison damage. Kill 1 monster, stack cap +1. If he slays 1,000 monsters, his maximum stack count will rise to 1,001. 1,000 layers of venom would dish out spirit times 1,000 true damage each passing second. Su Chen took a deep breath to suppress the grin threatening to spread across his face and closed his status panel. He turned to face the observation platform as silence still hung heavy over the entire playground. Every student stared at him with a mixture of envy, jealousy, and undisguised disbelief, labeling him an outrageous lucky cheater in their gazes. Everyone understood the monumental significance of an Triple S unique hidden profession. Up above, Principal Hicka remained frozen mid-motion after leaping out of his wheelchair in his excitement. Their eyes met across the open space. An awkward silence settled between them. Hikaishan flushed with embarrassment, coughing violently as he attempted to slink back into his wheelchair with as little notice as possible. Ugh, my old legs have been acting up today. Hikaishan groaned, feeling pain in his knees. Principal, he such walked over to the platform with an amicable smile. What a miraculous recovery. If the Municipal Education Bureau administrators witnessed your nimble movement just now, you might get reassigned to frontline inspection duty next month. Hikaishan froze mid-set. For years, he had pretended partial lower body paralysis to evade tedious administrative obligations assigned by the city government, and his outburst just now had completely blown his cover. You insolent boy. Hika shot him an irritated glare and dropped his pretense of disability, lowering his voice to grumble. I've shielded you from trouble for 3 years, and this is how you repay me by exposing my secret. I would never dare. Su Chen rubbed his fingers together with a cheeky smile. I only just awakened my profession and have no proper equipment or starting funds. If I were to collapse from hunger on the street and accidentally spill confidential information in a delirious state, enough. Enough. Hold your tongue. Hikaishan retrieved a silver-tinged bank card from his spatial ring and tossed it towards Su Chen. This is a Profession Chamber of Commerce debit card with 10,000 gold coins inside. Is that sufficient startup capital? Now get out of my sight. I'm truly grateful for your generosity. Su Chen caught the card swiftly and tucked it into his pocket. Gold carried roughly equivalent purchasing power to the currency from his past world. The average civilian monthly wage hovered around 3,000 gold coins, making 10,000 a substantial fortune for him. May your leg troubles never fully resolve. Principal, get lost already. Why would she look regretful about my powerful awakening? You're such a fool. Lurching bit her lower lip and glared at him. What does your new profession even do? Does it rely on throwing poison daggers like rogues? Poison builds are notoriously slow at dealing damage. So, this triple S hidden class must function differently, right? Show us what you can do, Chun. Wang Shaoli called out before rushing off to haul a solid iron training dummy over for testing. Eager to verify the practical effects of his clash traits, Su Chen raised a hand and aimed at the wooden dummy. A glob of dark green magical projectile slammed into the dummy's torso with a soft smack. A gray damage value floated above the training dummy's head immediately. The onlooking students fell into stunned silence, craning their necks in shock. 25 damage with a basic unenhanced spell strike. How high is his spirit stat? That was just a casual attack with no weapon equipped. Before the crowd could finish processing this display, the iron dumb surface was engulfed in eerie dark green mist. A sharp hissing sound filled the air as the ultra-durable refined iron began melting away like snow against blazing magma. Crimson damage numbers popped continuously above the dummy every single second without pause. 25, 25, 25, 25, 25, repeating nonstop, completely unaffected by the dummy's high innate magic resistance. 10 seconds later, the refined iron dummy, which normally required hours of relentless assault from level 3 warriors to destroy, had dissolved into a smoldering pile of black ash. Dead silence blanketed the field once more. Every student stood agape, staring blankly at the destroyed training dummy. Someone finally broke the quiet with a quiet gulp. That dummy was forged from high resistance, refined iron. We should all bow before the poison mage. Stay far away from him from now on. Getting poisoned would be an agonizing experience. Lin Sharing's mouth fell open into an O shape as she stared blankly at the charred wreckage, unable to utter a single word for several seconds. She then pinched Su Chen's arm lightly and chided at him softly. Why would you expose your core abilities so carelessly? They're all classmates here. No harm, Don. Su Chen ignored the sea of envious stares surrounding him, slid his hands back into his pockets, and fought to keep his grin contained. This is only the very beginning. This is merely the damage output from a single poison stack. Once I grind up 1,000 poison stack caps out in the wild monster zones, I could melt this entire sports field if I wanted to. The awakening ceremony officially concluded at 12:00 noon. Out of the 500 graduating seniors from Tina No. 1 High School, only 45 successfully awakened combat professions. 120 unlocked support classes, and the remaining 335 were saddled with life-oriented jobs. The uncrossable divide between social classes was laid bare for everyone to witness that day. Back on the observation platform, Principal Hick Kaishan watched the emotionally varied faces of the students and cleared his throat. His voice boomed across the entire playground via amplification arrays. Students, Kaishan discarded his earlier comical demeanor and spoke with solemn gravity. Whether you awaken mage or farmer today, each of you forms a vital pillar of the Daha Empire and stands as a bulwark against the abyss and demonic forces invading our lands. Students with life professions, head to the Academic Affairs Office this afternoon to collect your graduation certificates and official job assignment letters. Never forget, your logistical support forms the most reliable backing for warriors fighting on the front lines. 300-plus students bearing life class awakenings hung their heads with red-rimmed eyes and silently filed off the playground knowing they were barred from participating in the upcoming novice dungeon trial. Hika shifted his gaze to the remaining 165 combat and support practitioners, raising his voice firmly. Return home immediately and spend all available resources to stock up on equipment and healing potions. Assemble at the Central City Square at 8 tomorrow morning to begin the official novice dungeon assessment. The crowd scattered in an uproar. Shun, I'm heading out first. Wang Shaoli strode over with his blonde hair still standing out, excitement staining his cheeks bright red. I've got to rush home and beg my dad for money. I'll sell everything I own to buy a black iron greatsword. I'll tank all the damage for you tomorrow. He had successfully awakened the warrior class. Right after Wang Shaoli sprinted away, a faint scent of jasmine drifted through the air. Lin Sharing walked up to Su Chen. She avoided his gaze, no longer carrying the arrogant demeanor she usually put on to show off. She bit her lower lip and spoke in a quiet, shaky voice. Su Chen, if you want to tease me for our earlier joke, go ahead. I won't argue back. Dark lines spread across Su Chen's forehead. You're being weird. I was only messing around with you before because you kept picking fights with me nonstop. Lin Xing mumbled the reply softly, her expression a mix of relief and faint disappointment. Su Chen caught that trace of letdown clearly and felt utterly speechless. Why on earth would you feel disappointed about that? Suddenly, Lin Xing reached into her pocket, pulled out a silver storage ring, and quickly pressed it into Su Chen's palm. She stared toward the distant school building and spoke rapidly. I wandered the trade market the other day and happened to stumble across a full set of silver-tier novice mage gear. I already bought it, and it's useless sitting with me. Since you're a mage, it suits you perfectly. Su Chen stared at the costly storage ring in his hand, then glanced at her fingers twisted tightly together, falling into silence. Happened to see it. Stumbled across it by chance. Silver-tier starter sets sold for a minimum of 3 million gold coins, and they were nearly impossible to purchase even with money. There was no way she'd bought this purely by accident. Su Chen sighed and tried to hand the ring back to her. What are you doing? Lin Xing jerked her hand away as if burned, glaring at him. Do you look down on my gift? Miss Lin? Su Chen said earnestly. If you coincidentally bought a mage set, did you also coincidentally grab warrior, assassin, and archer sets as well? You'd have more rings than you can wear on all 10 fingers, practically becoming the Lord of the Rings. Lin Xing's face flushed crimson all the way to her earlobes. That's not true. She stammered in rebuttal, her voice small with guilt. I appreciate the thought. Su Chen forced the ring back into her grasp. Accepting gifts puts one in debt to others. Even if this sum meant nothing to the Lin family, he wanted to owe as few favors as possible. Before Lin Xing could fly into a temper, he turned and left, waving over his shoulder. See you tomorrow, Su Chen. You're such an oblivious fool. Lin Xing stood rooted to the spot, stamping her feet in anger as she clutched the ring tightly in her hand. She let out a huff and stormed into a stretched Lincoln sedan. Su Chen headed straight home after leaving school. He lived in a shabby apartment building tucked inside Tiana City's old district. Pushing open the front door, he entered a cramped single room furnished with only the bare necessities. Su Chen was an orphan of the Dimensional War. 18 years prior, an outbreak of monsters from the Abyss Rift on Tiana City's outskirts had ravaged the city. His parents had perished in the catastrophe, leaving only this apartment and a modest survivor's pension behind. If he had awakened a livelihood-focused class today, he would have been trapped surviving in this rundown flat for the rest of his life. But things were different now. Splashing cold water on his face, he dragged an iron box out from under his bed. It held all his life savings, a mere 2,000 yuan. Paired with the 10,000 gold bank card principal he Kaishan had given him, this was his total startup capital for tomorrow's dungeon run. Half an hour later, Su Chen arrived at the Awaken Occupation Trade Market. The venue buzzed with noise, filled with high school seniors and their parents frantically stocking up supplies for the upcoming novice dungeon trial. Many wealthy families had prepared funds well in advance to purchase top-tier gear for their children right after the awakening ceremony. Top-grade bronze fire mage wand only 100,000 gold first come first served. Warrior heavy armor granting +3 constitution just 50,000 gold. Su Chen ignored the frantic bidding crowds and browsed leisurely. All students were currently level 1, and low-level equipment granted negligible stat bonuses. With his naturally high base stats, minor attribute boosts were nothing more than trivial improvements. What he needed was a weapon that synergized with his abilities. Explosion Wand rank. Black Iron level requirement, 1 spirit +2. Upon slaying an enemy, unleash a fire splash, dealing 10 fire damage to all targets within a 2-meter radius. While classified as Black Iron tier, the wand only provided 2 spirit points, identical to standard common grade weaponry. Its only unique feature was the single attached passive effect. Su Chen's eyes lit up the moment he read the modifier. For ordinary mages, this ability was barely functional, if not outright useless. The splash damage only triggered after securing a kill, resulting in very low uptime. Worse, the meager 10 damage could easily aggro swarms of extra monsters and lead to a total party wipe. For Su Chen, however, this weapon was game-changing. He relied entirely on poison damage overtime effects to defeat foes. Any enemy struck by his attacks would be inflicted with his deadly poison debuff automatically. This one's passive was essentially a hidden god-tier ability for his build. The stall owner, a burly, overweight man, noticed Su Chen picking up the wand and spoke immediately. 100,000 gold. Firm price. This is genuine black iron equipment. Are you serious? Su Chen raised an eyebrow. Is this wooden shaft forged from pure gold or this cheap red crystal? He countered flatly. 1,000 gold. You've got to be kidding me. The vendor nearly choked on his breath. No one bargains that harshly. Su Chen turned as if ready to walk away. Sir, this wand only has value for its +2 spirit stat. Its extra passive is practically a harmful debuff. Accidental splash damage will draw hordes of monsters and get parties killed. Once today's dungeon entry is over, level 1 gear will be unsellable for an entire year. The vendor scowled unhappily. He had misjudged the 1 years ago and failed to sell it for 3 whole years. 10,000 gold. I paid 15,000 to stock this item. I thought I'd scored a steal when I saw the black iron marking, but I ended up fooling myself. Su Chen swiped the bank card without hesitation, transferring 10,000 gold instantly. He then headed to a nearby potion shop. 50 bottles of minor mana restoration potion and 10 bottles of minor health restoration potion, please. Right away, we have a promotion today. Buy 10, get 1 free. You'll receive 5 complimentary bottles of each. Potion prices were standardized with little markup, costing Su Chen a total of 600 yuan. Only 1,400 yuan remained in his bank account afterward. Su Chen left the market and ducked into an empty alley to equip the explosion wand. Equipment equipped successfully, spirit +2. He opened his character sheet and smiled at his towering 27 spirit stat. I've never had such a perfect head start. Cheers to this lucky turn of fate. If this world operated like a video game, the game developers would have been flooded with complaints by now. This was the real world, though. There were no cheat codes or exploits. Every advantage he held was earned through careful planning and his unique class abilities. Stowing the wand away, he looked forward eagerly to venturing into the novice dungeon the next morning. Early the following morning, Tennis City Central Square was packed with people, combat, and support class. Newly awakened students from high schools across the city lined up in neat formations under the supervision of their teachers. A massive 10-meter-tall teleportation gateway stood at the front of the square. A swirling sapphire vortex churned within its frame, emanating oppressive spatial ripples that sent chills down everyone's spines. That's the dungeon entrance. The pressure rolling off it is incredible. I only could afford common gear. I wonder how many monsters I can take down. Whispers rippled through the assembled crowd. A deep booming shout cut through all murmurs. The speaker was He Shan, principal of Tihan No. 1 High School. He had donned a well-worn old dark gold mage robe for the occasion. Though faded and frayed, the residual high-tier mana emanating from the fabric filled the students with overwhelming dread. Students. He Shan discarded his usual warm demeanor, his expression stern and grave. Today marks your first real encounter with actual monsters. Set aside the casual attitude you had during school-simulated combat drills. Monsters within the novice dungeon spawn endlessly in massive numbers, with roaming elite variants appearing at random. Mark my words, know your limits. He slammed his fist against the podium. This is not a simulation. Real death awaits anyone who slips up. Every year, students perish because they greedily chase extra kills and fail to retreat in time. When faced with unavoidable danger, flee the dungeon immediately. Your survival must always be your top priority. A somber hush fell over the square. Students who had been chatting casually tightened their grips on their low-rank weapons, sweat beading on their palms. After the address concluded, students split into teams to prepare for dungeon entry. I'll hold aggro at the front while you cast your poison spells safely from the back. I even recruited a healer who knows basic healing magic. Our 3-person squad is unbeatable. Lin Xing walked over just as he finished speaking. She wore an elegant moon-white priest robe, gripping a crystal-tipped staff in her hand. Beat it, fatty. Su Chen isn't joining your random squad. Lin Sharing planted her hands on her hips before turning to Su Chen. My family arranged 3 powerful teammates for me. We'll farm monsters on the dungeon's outer zones. Join my party, and you get first pick of all dropped loot. Wang Xiaoli fell silent instantly. Teams backed by the Lin family were undeniably top tier. There was no reason for Su Chen to join a random amateur group. Su Chen shook his head at the two of them. Thanks for the offer, but I plan to clear the dungeon solo." Wang Shaoli and Lin Xing exclaimed in unison. "Have you lost your mind?" Lin Xing stamped her feet anxiously. "Even within triple S grade class, you're a squishy mage. Without a frontline tank, a handful of basic monsters can tear you apart in seconds. I have everything under control." Such shook his head, fully aware of how dungeon experience allocation worked in this world. Total experience from monster kills was split evenly among every member in a full 5P-person party. Only solo play granted 100% of the earned experience alongside exclusive claim to all loot drops. The trade-off was drastically heightened danger when facing swarms of enemies alone. Typically, only geniuses with rare hidden combat classes and lavish equipment dared attempt solo runs in the novice phase. He offered no further explanation, walking past the pair toward the elevated platform where school administrators stood. At the edge of the platform, Haishan sipped from a thermos while exchanging stiff pleasantries with Lu Guodong, principal of Tihan No. 2 High School. "Hilao, word has spread your school produced an triple S grade awakens student this year." Lu Guodong wore a mocking smile. "Unfortunately, it's a poison mage. This class develops far too slowly in the early game. He won't stand out for the city college entrance exam in a week's time. My school awakened an S-grade berserker axeman this year. I have no doubts our student will claim top city honors." He Kaishin let out a cold snort. "What does a poison mage lack? The value of an triple S-grade class far outshines your ordinary S-grade variant." Su Chen's voice interrupted the two elders' bickering. "Su Chen, ready to enter the dungeon?" Hikishan's features softened into a warm smile. "Have you assembled the party? I'm requesting solo dungeon entry." Su Chen replied calmly. Hika sprayed out a mouthful of wolfberry tea in shock. Lu Guodong dodged the flying liquid with practiced reflexes, clearly accustomed to this occurrence. After a moment of stunned silence, Lu Guodong broke into exaggerated laughter. "Well, now, Hailao, your star student certainly has bold aspirations. The last person to attempt a solo novice dungeon run was Elder Jean decades ago. Is he courting death or trying to inflate your school's casualty statistics?" Ignoring Lu Guodong's jeers, Hika pulled Su Chen aside and lowered his voice sharply. "Are you absolutely certain about this? I won't take unnecessary risks. I'll retreat immediately if I hit my limits. Splitting experience with teammates will slow my leveling progress too much," Su Chen explained. Hikaishan studied Su Chen's calm, unwavering gaze and nodded slowly. "Go on then." Su Chen blinked in surprise, scratching his cheek. "Aren't you going to stop me? Why would I?" Hikaishan chuckled. "You're sharp and calculating by nature, always thinking several steps ahead. I have no reason to hold you back." Such stared blankly, feeling dejected at the lack of concern. He turned away and headed for the teleportation gateway. Lin Xing hurried over. "I knew principal he would never approve. He already gave me permission." Lin Xing stared in disbelief. How could that old man agree to such a reckless idea? "Find another teammate for your group. I'm heading in now." "Fine then. Let's make a bet." "Bet on what?" "Who can slay more monsters inside the dungeon?" Su Chen shook his head helplessly. The girl's stubborn competitiveness never faded. He suspected his days would be filled with her antics from now on. Beneath the astonished stares of every student present, he bypassed all party groups and stepped into the swirling sapphire vortex of the portal. Watching Su Chen vanish into the gateway, the other school principals wore solemn expressions while Kaishan calmly sipped his thermos tea. "Heyo, you truly let him go in alone." Lu Guodong sauntered over with a sarcastic tone. A tragedy for such a promising young talent to perish so early. Kaishan shot him a dismissive glance and sipped his tea unhurriedly. "Harish, you understand nothing about triple S grade existences." He raised his voice loud enough for every surrounding principal to hear clearly. "Do you know why his class is labeled a one-of-a-kind hidden variant?" The faces of the surrounding principals palled instantly. They were intimately familiar with those training dummies, which boasted immensely high defense and magic resistance. Even level 10 professional combatants could not destroy them that quickly. Dungeon name, Gloomy, Jungle Novice Tier. Normal monster levels 110. A brief sensation of weightlessness washed over Su Chen as the scenery before his eyes morphed entirely. Damp, decaying air filled his lungs. Towering ancient trees blocked all sunlight, casting the jungle in dim, oppressive gloom, punctuated by distant roars of unknown beasts. Su Chen stretched his wrists and opened his character panel. Name: Su Chen, level 10 experience class. Venom Mage. Unique hidden triple S grade strength. 5 Agility 8 Constitution, 6 Spirit 27. Unique class passives, Universal Corrosion Venom God's Touch, Misfortune, Siphon Skill Venom Missile. Level 1. Equipped Gear Explosion, 1 Black Iron Tier. His stats appeared standard aside from his elevated spirit value. Gripping the crystal-cracked explosion wand, Su Chen stepped across. The carpet of rotting fallen leaves. Moments later, rustling noises echoed from the bushes ahead. 3 green-skinned goblins the size of calves emerged, gripping rusted iron clubs in their hands. Goblin Common Mob Level, 1 Strength, 5 Agility, 6 Constitution, 10 Spirit. The 3 goblins screeched sharply upon spotting Su Chen and charged forward swinging their clubs. Standard Level 1 foes, perfect for testing my abilities. Su Chen remained completely calm. The goblin stats matched textbook descriptions perfectly, barring their decent constitution stat. All other attributes were abysmally low. Even a priest could tank their attacks comfortably. He lifted his wand and targeted the leading goblin, casting a basic attack. A dim magical missile launched from the wand's tip, striking the goblin square in the chest. A white damage value floated above the monster's head. The product of Su Chen's high 27 spirit stat, boosting his base magic damage. Against a level 1 goblin with only 10 constitution, the hit drained nearly a quarter of its total health pool. The goblin staggered briefly from the blow, but resumed its ferocious charge toward him. At that exact moment, eerie dark green veins spread rapidly across its green skin. System prompt. Passive Universal Corrosion activated. Target inflicted with poison debuff. Passive Venom God's Touch triggered. Poison stacks maxed. Current stack count, 1. The next instant, a glaring purple damage number burst above the goblin's head. 27. The goblin froze mid-stride, letting out a shrill, agonized scream as venom dissolved its internal tissues from the inside out. 1 second passed. Another second passed. After only 4 poison damage ticks, the goblin collapsed into a puddle of dark green corrosive slime without ever touching Su Chen's clothes. Venom Corrupted Goblin. Experienced 10 System Prompt Passive Misfortune Siphon activated permanent +1 maximum poison stack limit. Current maximum stacks. 2 System Prompt Explosion Wand Passive. Trigger deals 10 splash fire damage to all enemies within a 2m radius upon kill. A small burst of flame ignited above the slime puddle, stray embers landing on the remaining 2 goblins. The minor fire damage barely affected the creatures. Yet, a terrifying chain reaction unfolded. Dark green poison veins instantly crawled across the skin of both goblins struck by the embers. Passive Universal Corrosion activated. Target inflicted with poison debuff. Passive Venom God's Touch triggered. Poison stacks maxed. Current stack count 2. Su Chen did not lift a finger, even yawning casually where he stood. 5,454 with his poison stack cap raised to 2 layers. The periodic true damage doubled to 54 points per tick. The 2 goblins screamed for merely 2 seconds before melting into pools of venomous slime just like their companion. Venom Corrupted Goblin. You have slain the poison goblin. Notice trait Doom Absorption activated. Permanent poison stack cap increased by 2. Current cap for stacks. 2 bursts of flame exploded once more. No other monsters lingered nearby this time, so the splash damage struck nothing at all. Is that all there is? Su Chen stared at 3 puddles of corrosive muck on the ground, the corners of his eyes twitching faintly. This mechanic was utterly absurd. Any monster that died within his sight would trigger his staff's splash effect, which in turn coated surrounding targets with full stack poison. The poison melted the creatures away, permanently raising his passive stack limit in the process. Higher stack caps amplified poison damage, killing monsters even faster, fueling more splash hits, and further poison applications in an endless loop. Su Chen swallowed hard. Time to find a densely populated monster zone and max out my stacks. He hefted his blasting staff and strode deep into the jungle, rampaging freely through the woods. Every living thing that crossed his path got struck by a spell. Even a stray wild dog wandering past would be tainted by his venom. Slain Level 1, Forest Cat Spirit. Explain Level 1 Poison Spider. Permanent poison stack cap +1. Current cap 5 stacks. Permanent poison stack cap +1. Current cap 6 stacks. Several minutes later, a brilliant golden light erupted beneath Su Chen, enveloping his entire body. A warm current coursed through every vessel and limb, instantly washing away all lingering weariness and flooding his muscles with vigorous power. Notice experience threshold met. Level increased to level 2. All base stats +1. 5 free attribute points awarded. So this is what leveling up feels like. Su Chen clenched his fist, relishing the surging energy inside him. This sensation was far more satisfying than any trivial pleasure he had known before. In this world, newly awakened class holders began at level 1 upon their first job advancement. Each level granted +1 to strength, agility, constitution, and spirit automatically alongside 5 freely distributable attribute points from the system. Such had already mapped out his attribute allocation long before entering the dungeon. Conventionally, mages poured all their points into spirit to maximize raw spell damage. Su Chen disagreed with this standard build. Pure spirit builds dealt impressive damage but left the user extremely frail. In this tangible, brutal otherworld, a single monster strike could spell instant death. This was no video game. There were no respawns after death. His class revolved around stacking poison via passive effects. Once venom latched onto a target, damage output would be vastly excessive no matter what. There was no sense sacrificing survivability for marginal spirit gains. Only those who stayed alive could keep dealing damage. Su Chen opened his status panel with a thought and split his 5 free points at a 3:2 ratio. 3 points into spirit, 2 into constitution. After allocation, his spirit rose to 31 and his constitution hit 10. Name: Su Chen. Level 21. Progress class. Venom Mage SSS exclusive hidden class strength 6 agility 9 constitution 10 spirit 31 class exclusive traits universal rod. Venomous touch. Doom absorption. Current poison stack cap 21 equipped item. Blasting. Staff. Iron tier. His continuous slaughters had pushed his poison stack cap all the way to 21 stacks. This meant each tick of poison damage equaled 31 times 21 is equal to 651 damage points. Su Chen drew a sharp breath. How is a level 2 class holder supposed to output this much damage? It was ridiculously overpowered. He closed his status window and walked toward the puddles left by the dead cat spirits. Spotting a faintly glowing coin resting atop the muck, he bent down to pick it up. Obtained 1 gold coin. Terrible drop rates. Su Chen flipped the coin once before stowing it inside his dimensional storage. He had eliminated 20 monsters just to earn a single gold coin. In Tiana City, an average civilian earned roughly 3,000 gold coins per month through regular work. Grinding low-tier monsters on the dungeon outskirts yielded barely 100 gold coins. Even after grueling days of hunting, after covering rent and daily expenses, almost no savings remained, not enough to afford even a basic iron tier piece of equipment. It explained why countless underprivileged class holders scraped by on deadly monster hunts, yet remained perpetually impoverished. True wealth could only be earned by hunting high-rank monsters and clearing advanced dungeons. Su Chen wasted no more time and pressed deeper into the jungle. Every encounter from this point devolved into one-sided annihilation. Level 2 poison goblins, Level 3 goblin archers, Level 3 jungle vipers. Whether perched high in tree canopies or hiding within muddy box, a single basic spell from Su Chen sealed their fate the moment they were spotted. The splash modifier on his blasting staff became an overpowered ability amid these densely clustered monsters. Each fiery detonation coated every nearby creature with dark green poison markings, dropping them in unison. That said, Su Chen noticed his experience bar filled far slower after reaching level 2. Leveling really does grow harder. No wonder the National College Entrance Combat Exam is only a week away with level 10 as the entry requirement. Solo grinding is already this slow. Team-splitting exps must struggle immensely to rank up. Su Chen muttered to himself, dissatisfied with his current leveling pace. Half an hour passed before golden light flashed once again. Notice experience threshold met. Level increased to level 3. All base stats +1. 5 free attribute points awarded. Su Chen allocated the new points following the same 3:2 split without hesitation, raising his spirit to 35 and constitution to 13. He checked his updated stats. With 35 spirit and a full poison stack count, his damage tick for 35 times 98 is equal to 3,430 damage per second in true damage. Over 3,400 true damage each second, completely ignoring all defensive values. The stat inflation was utterly absurd. If this class existed in a video game, developers would immediately nerf it during closed beta testing. Su Chen scoffed at the thought. Yet, an irrepressible grin tugged at his lips. This is blatant cheating. Who would run such an overpowered build? Wait, I'm the one using it. Then it's perfectly fine. He stepped over a moss-covered dead tree trunk and officially entered the deepest section of the shadowy jungle. Ancient colossal trees towered overhead, blocking nearly all sunlight and plunging the area into dim shadow. Thick metallic blood scent hung heavy in the air. Heavy footsteps suddenly echoed across the open clearing ahead. A nearly 3 m tall brute covered head to toe in black scales stood with its back to him, feasting on the carcass of a wild boar. Su Chen cast scan on the creature without delay. Black scale bull elite monster level. 5 strength, 25 agility, 20 constitution, 60 spirit, 10 skills, bull charge, heavy slam. A staggering 60 constitution stat. Constitution directly govern maximum health and physical defense values. Ordinary rookie teams would struggle to breach this elite monster's formidable armor, lacking sufficient total damage output. Its 25 strength stat was equally menacing. A direct hit from its charge would send even pure Constitution tank warriors flying backward with brutal force. Sensing the presence of a living human, the black-scaled bull abandoned its half-eaten boar corpse and twisted around, blood-red eyes locking firmly onto Su Chen. The bull unleashed a deafening bellow, driving its massive hooves into the ground and barreling towards Su Chen like a heavy armored tank. The ground trembled faintly beneath its stampede. Faced with this visually devastating charge, Su Chen did not so much as blink an eye. He calmly lifted his staff. A slow-moving magic missile arced forward, striking dead center against the bull's scaled chest. 22-level suppression combined with the bull's high constitution heavily mitigated the direct spell damage. Yet, that single hit was more than enough. In the next instant, dark green poison veins spread like an inescapable curse across the black-scaled bull's massive frame. 3,430. The charging bull stiffened abruptly mid-sprint. Its colossal body crashed heavily to the ground, sliding several meters across the dirt before melting into a large puddle of foul-smelling green corrosive liquid 5 m away from Su Chen. Slain black, scaled bull elite monster. Experiment poison stack cap +1. Current cap 99 stack 75 experience points. Standard level 5 monsters grant 50 experience, so elite variants receive a 1.5x experience multiplier. Su Chen analyzed calmly. Even a level 5 elite monster could not survive a single tick of his poison damage. He continued deeper into the jungle. No need to venture further inward for now. I'll farm monsters in this vicinity for a while. Come on, bulls. Your poison-wielding elder is here. Meanwhile, on the plaza just outside the shadowy jungle dungeon entrance, school principals and supervising teachers gathered in small clusters to chat and drink tea. Lu Guodong wore a warm smile as he spoke. It's been roughly 30 minutes since these students entered the dungeon. The top-tier prodigies from elite classes have likely reached the outer zone of Level 2 monster habitats by now. Level 2 monsters. You're being far too optimistic, Lu. The female principal from number 6 High shook her head. The Education Bureau personally curated this dungeon's challenges this year. Every monster inside was captured live from untamed wilderness zones, making them extremely aggressive. Even level 1 forest cats, spirits, and goblins pose a serious threat to rookie students wielding their very first weapons. Teams require 2 frontline combatants, plus a healer just to safely kite level 2 foes. She's absolutely correct. A stout-eyed teacher chimed in agreement. I heard the Education Bureau intentionally stationed high-mobility goblin archers along the boundary, separating level 2 and level 3 zones to discourage reckless advancement. Students who wander into level 3 territory will retreat back to the outer level 1 farming areas after taking a couple of arrow hits. Hikaishan sat in his wheelchair sipping wolfberry water from a stainless steel thermos mug at a leisurely pace. Retreating with caution is the wise choice. Young people often suffer from reckless overconfidence. Those who stay grounded and safely grind up to level 2 along the dungeon perimeter can be considered competent students. Level 3 monsters are meant only for the top 10 student teams to challenge. Lu Guodong glanced toward Hika with a teasing tone. You're awfully laid back today. What do you think about that young man who just entered the dungeon? He might truly accomplish something unprecedented. Still, he maintained a composed outward demeanor and waved his hand dismissively. And Triple S class talent is impressive. Yet, the Education Bureau raised the dungeon difficulty substantially this year. Several elite monsters reside within the level 5 zone: shadow direwolves, savage orcs, and most notably, the black-scaled bull with 60 constitution. Its physical defense and magic resistance are nearly impenetrable, paired with a devastating charge ability. Even coordinated groups of a dozen level 2 combatants risk total party wipeouts attempting to bring it down. Lu Guodong nodded in approval. Level 5 elite monsters were never intended to be fought by rookie students. The surrounding principals all voiced their agreement, shifting their conversation to estimating how many low-tier monsters each school's students could eliminate on the dungeon outskirts. Speaking of which, what is the dungeon's final boss this year? The same old foe, unchanged. The three-headed black-scaled lizard is little more than a decorative obstacle. For decades, only veteran Jean has ever laid eyes on the boss chamber. Back deep within the shadowy jungle. Slain black-scaled bull elite monster. Experiment poison stack cap +1. Current cap 341 stacks. Slain poison spider elite monster. Experience 75. Permanent poison stack cap +1. Current cap 342 stacks. Slain black-scaled bull elite monster. Experience 75. Permanent poison stack cap +1. Current cap 343 stacks. A flood of continuous system notifications flooded Su Chen's vision nonstop. He lazily waved his iron tear-blasting staff, firing magic missiles indiscriminately in every direction without restraint. Precise targeting of vital points or careful positioning was completely unnecessary. The faintest scratch or even a glancing impact against thick monster scales was enough to trigger the rapid spread of virulent dark green poison markings. The black-scale bull that teachers claimed required massive coordinated teams to defeat dissolved mid-leap through the air. Poison spiders with hardened carapaces melted into pools of green fluid the moment they began spewing silk threads. For 3 full hours, Su Chen carried out a comprehensive purge across this monster territory. As the last level 5 elite monster dissolved into corrosive muck, brilliant golden light erupted once more from beneath his feet. Notice experience threshold met. Level increased to level 5. All base stats +1. 5 free attribute points awarded. Su Chen halted his attacks and exhaled a long breath. Finally hit level 5. Leveling had proven unexpectedly tedious. Progress felt smooth through levels 1 to 3. Yet experience requirements spiked exponentially once past level 3. Solo grinding was already this time-consuming. He could not fathom how party members endured the grind with split experience gains. Teams would spend days farming just to reach level 5. Su Chen opened his status panel once more, allocating his 5 new attribute points into Spirit and Constitution at the standard 3:2 ratio. After allocation, his Spirit stat rose to 43 and his Constitution reached 19. He checked his most critical asset, his poison stack limit. Current poison stack cap, 412 stacks. 412 stacks total. Su Chen silently tallied his total damage output. 43. Spirit, multiplied by 412 stacks, equaled 17,716 damage per second, via true poison damage. I can barely believe how extreme this damage value is myself. No outside observer would ever believe a mere level 5 combatant could deal over 10,000 true damage each second. Any creature that makes contact with me now will be instantly corroded to nothing. Su Chen stowed his staff and scanned his surroundings. The once eerie shadowed jungle depths were unrecognizable now. Puddles of bubbling green venom coated the ground, and a sharp acrid stench saturated the air. Most importantly, not a single living monster remained within his line of sight. Creatures hiding inside tree hollows or buried beneath marsh mud had all been eradicated during his 3 hours of unrestricted area bombardment. Where have all the monsters gone? Is the respawn rate this slow? Su Chen kicked aside a half-sea corroded bone at his feet. No living monsters meant no experience gains and no poison stack increases. He lifted his gaze toward the deepest core of the jungle, where a thick wall of black mist swirled, emanating an oppressive aura that sent chills down the spine. With all outer elite monsters wiped out, I suppose it's time to deal with the dungeon core boss. Such did not hesitate for a single moment and stepped straight into the shroud of black mist. Passing through the mist veil opened into a vast underground cavern lined with luminescent crystals embedded into the stone walls. At the very center of the cave coiled a colossal monster the size of a small hill. It possessed a lizard-like torso topped with 3 grotesque heads. Strength 120. Constitution 150. Poison breath. Savage bite. Scale hardening. Iron tier boss monster. Su Chen's eyes lit up with excitement. Within this world, Monster tiers matched equipment grading: common, iron, bronze, silver, gold, and higher rarities. An Iron Tier level 8 boss possessed stats terrifying enough to overwhelm any party below level 10 completely. A staggering 150 constitution paired with the scale hardening skill pushed its physical defense to insurmountable heights. I cannot imagine how standard student teams would ever stand a chance against this foe. Lucky for me, I'm far more monstrous than this boss itself. Feeling sympathetic towards struggling rookie teams, Su Chen walked forward with undisguised excitement, staff raised in hand. Detecting the intruder, the three heads of the three-headed black-scaled lizard snapped open 6 bloodshot eyes simultaneously. The largest central head unleashed a thunderous roar, compressing a dense mass of purple toxic gas within its jaws before firing the projectile straight towards Su Chen. Skill-activated poison breath. The toxic cloud covered a wide area and traveled at overwhelming speed, leaving no viable escape route. Su Chen made no attempt to dodge whatsoever. He stood rooted in place and flicked his staff forward casually. A single magic missile pierced through the toxic cloud and collided against the scales covering the lizard's central head with a sharp metallic clang. The direct spell damage was pitifully low, yet it was more than sufficient for his poison to take hold. The very next second, dark green poison veins exploded outward from the impact point, spreading across the lizard's gigantic body in an instantaneous web-like pattern. 17,716. The three-headed black-scaled lizard, poised to dissolve Su Chen within its poison cloud, stiffened rigidly in place. The toxic breath mid-discharge dissipated uselessly into thin air. All three heads let out agonized, ear-piercing shrieks. Its massive health pool, bolstered by 150 constitution, vanished in an instant, popped like a punctured balloon under the relentless true poison damage. 1 second later, its mountainous body crashed heavily onto the cavern floor and dissolved into a thick pool of nauseating green corrosive liquid. Every bone completely eaten away by venom. The entire battle lasted a single second. Slain three-headed black-scaled lizard Iron Tier boss. Permanent poison stack cap +1. Current cap 413 stacks. Notice experience threshold met. Level increased to level 6. Blinding golden light flooded the dim cavern from where Su Chen stood. Holy hell! Su Chen swore aloud in shock. 8,000 experience instantly maxed out his entire experience bar. The experience multiplier for defeating higher-level bosses was ridiculously overpowered. He hurried toward the pool of boss remains, spotting 3 glowing items hovering above the corrosive liquid. 2 pieces of equipment alongside a stone radiating a faint mysterious aura. A full rare loot drop. Su Chen collected the items immediately and cast scan on them. Black Iron Venom Dagger. Equip requirement level 5. Agility +15. Strength +10. Attacks have a 5 chance to inflict poison on targets, dealing 20 damage per second for 5 seconds. Stout Black Iron Chestplate Tier. Black Iron required level 5 +20 stamina +5 strength bonus effect reduces 15 damage taken from physical attacks. 2 pieces of Black Iron gear in total. In the early era of global job awakening, even elite teams from major guilds considered a full set of Black Iron equipment a luxury. Any level 5 Black Iron piece fetched an astronomical price on the trading house. The Poison Dagger in particular was a coveted treasure for assassin classes. Though the dagger was useless to Su Chen, he equipped the stout Black Iron chestplate right away. His stamina surged by 20 points instantly, while the 5 bonus strength barely made any difference. Su Chen stroked the icy surface of the chestplate, then fixed his gaze on the last stone lying on the ground. Class Skill Stone Tier Black Iron required level 10 effect grants a chance to learn 1 class skill. Su Chen gasped in shock. A skill stone and a Black Iron grade 1 at that. As its name suggested, this item unlocked new abilities. Profession holders could consume a skill stone every 10 levels to gain a new skill, most often aligned with their class. Skill stones had an abysmally low drop rate, resulting in constant market shortages and sky-high prices. Shame I can't use it to level 10. Su Chen stored the skill stone into his spatial inventory with a hint of regret. He glanced around the empty cavern. The final boss had been eliminated in 1 strike, meaning this beginner dungeon was fully cleared. He summoned his system panel to tally up his current stats. Name: Su Chen, level 61.3 experience class. Venom Mage, SSS, unique hidden class, strength 15, agility 13, stamina 47, spirit 47, exclusive class traits. Both his spirit and stamina had shot up to 47 points each. How is this even normal? A level 6 mage with higher stamina than full tank warriors of the same level. A sharp grin tugged at Su Chen's lips. I've lingered long enough. Time to head out. Such stretched his body and walked toward the teleportation gate ahead. A flash of white light erased his figure within the dim cavern. The sun blazed down on the plaza outside the gloomy jungle dungeon entrance. School supervisors and headmasters have been waiting for nearly 3 hours, their casual chatter fading into palpable anxiety. Lu Guodong checked his wristwatch and frowned. It's nearly noon by now. Students with weak foundations and no proper teammates must be running dry on mana and stamina. Even level 1 and 2 monsters pack a punch. 3 hours of continuous combat would wear anyone down mentally. Injuries aside, another headmaster nodded in agreement. We should see the first wave of retreats any minute now. Kaishan sat in his wheelchair, gently blowing on the steam rising from his teacup. Let them withdraw if they need to. These beginner dungeons exist to ground their expectations. Learning their limits is far better than dying inside. I'm curious how long the top students can hold out and whether they can take down a few level 5 monsters. Anyone care to guess the record for today's top performers? I believe the historical record stands at 5 hours. 4 hours is more realistic. Level-wise, topping out at level 3 would be impressive enough. Before anyone could respond, the massive blue energy veil marking the dungeon entrance rippled violently. Dozens of bright white flashes erupted one after another, dumping a crowd of ragged, exhausted students onto the plaza. Some had their mage robes torn to shreds. Others carried snapped weapons. Several collapsed to the ground, gasping for air with ashen faces, relieved to have escaped with their lives. Medics move in now. Lu Guodong shouted immediately. Priests and alchemists rushed forward to cast healing spells and distribute basic mana recovery potions, throwing the plaza into chaotic motion. A warrior student with bandages wrapped around his arm gulped down a potion and complained bitterly to his teacher. Sir, this dungeon is unreasonably hard. Our standard 5-man party whittled a level 1 furious wildcat down to low health, only for a second one to leap out from the bushes. The pair shredded our tank's shield entirely. We would have died without proper kiting tactics. Don't get me started. My fire spells couldn't even scratch the shell of the swamp turtles. It's utterly demoralizing for mages. The headmasters exchanged weary glances, unsurprised by the students' complaints. Be proud of what you've accomplished. Go rest up, Hikation consoled them. As time ticked by, the veil flickered repeatedly, spilling more defeated students out of the dungeon. Hundreds crowded the plaza, all worn ragged. The best outcome anyone could boast of was slaying merely 3 or 4 level 3 monsters. Amid the noisy commotion, the veil shimmered once more, and a tall figure stepped out unhurriedly. Lu Guodong spotted the newcomer instantly and nudged Hikaishan's elbow. Old he, look, is that Su Chen, your school's triple S unique hidden class holder? Why is he exiting so soon? Hikaishan's teacup froze midair as he followed Lu Guodong's gaze, confirming it was indeed Su Chen. His heart sank. Only 3 hours had passed. Even as a rare hidden class user, surely a mage wouldn't burn out this quickly from solo play. Hikaishan hastily rolled his wheelchair forward to greet the boy, forcing a warm smile. Su Chen, don't beat yourself up. Mages are naturally frail in the early game. Lasting 3 hours alone is already an outstanding feat. The faculty recognizes your potential. Treat this as valuable field experience. Su Chen halted his steps and scanned his surroundings. The plaza was packed with students, lit constantly by priests' healing glows amid endless chatter. He raised an eyebrow in confusion. Why are so many people out already? Did stronger players clear the dungeon faster than me? He walked over to Hika and sighed with feigned remorse. I've let you down, Principal. This world is filled with talented fighters after all. I thought I cleared monsters at a solid pace, yet others finished even quicker. A male classmate wandered over. You bailed out too, Su Chen? Did you run into those vicious level 3 furious wildcats? Su Chen froze in total confusion. The situation was nothing like what he imagined. He stared at his classmates, groaning over the supposedly deadly wildcats, then looked toward Lu Guodong. Those level 3 creatures couldn't possibly force someone to flee, could they? At that moment, a female principal's gaze drifted casually across Su Chen's body before locking sharply onto the faint black sheen emanating from his stout black iron chestplate. As a high-tier awakener, she identified the equipment grade at a glance. She narrowed her eyes and cast a high-level appraisal spell on Su Chen. Wait, hold on. The stainless steel teacup slipped from his grasp with a clang. Hot wolf berry tea spilling all over the pavement. Name: Su Chen, class Venom Mage, level 66. Hika shot abruptly to his feet from the wheelchair, eyes bulging in disbelief. You actually reached level 6. His thunderous shout exploded across the plaza like a clap of thunder. Lu Guodong stood dumbfounded. The principal of number 3 middle school was left stunt stiff. Students drinking potions or tending wounds froze mid-motion as if time had been paused. Did I hear that correctly from the principal? Our 5P-person group barely survived fighting a handful of level 3 foes, and he hit level 6 in 3 hours solo. That black glowing robe. That's black iron tear gear. What caliber of monster drops equipment like that? This is straight out of a web novel plot. How can this happen in real life? Am I just a background character in some fictional story? Whispers erupted into full-blown uproar across the square. In this world, an average freshman party would count themselves fortunate to hit level 4 after an entire day inside a beginner dungeon. Level 6 was a milestone most students could not achieve, even over 2 full days of grinding. Hika trembled as he pointed at Su Chen, speaking in a rushed, breathless tone. What exactly did you do inside? Even wiping out every low-level monster on the dungeon perimeter wouldn't grant enough experience for level 6. Did you engage level 3 monsters? Su Chen watched the principal teeter on the brink of a panic attack and scratched his cheek awkwardly. I did fight level 3 mobs, but their experience yield was far too low. I ventured deeper into the dungeon zones. Lu Guodong sucked in a sharp breath. You went into the level 5 elite monster zone. Those elites have absurdly high health pools and near unreachable defenses. How did you survive alone? Su Chen replied with genuine disappointment. My only complaint is that there weren't enough of them to farm. Complete silence blanketed the plaza instantly. Only the rustle of tree leaves broke the dead quiet. Hikaishan gaped open-mouthed as if his airway had been clamped shut. Lu Guodong's jaw hung nearly to his chest. Every person present replayed Su Chen's last line in their heads. Not enough monsters. Few could process the absurdity of the statement. Su Chen offered an awkward smile. They weren't too tough, especially compared to the dungeon boss. The crowd sank into numb disbelief. Hika stiffened and voiced the question everyone dreaded to hear answered. You didn't defeat the dungeon boss as well. Su Chen scratched the back of his head, wondering if he had inadvertently caused some massive stir. The female principal swallowed hard, her voice trembling visibly. That level 8 black iron boss the Education Bureau sealed within the dungeon as a containment measure. The 3-headed black-scaled venom lizard untouched for decades. Did you slay it single-handedly? Was it supposed to be powerful? Su Chen blinked innocently. Every single attack he landed had killed it instantly. He had no idea the beast carried such a fearsome reputation. It dropped 2 black iron pieces of gear. Decent loot overall. The school principals lost all composure entirely. Lu Guodong swore loudly, soloing an 8th-tier black iron boss. No carbon-based human being should be capable of such a feat. Su Chen watched their over-the-top reactions with quiet amusement. He could not fathom their extreme shock over a slow, stationary boss that stood still to take damage. If anything, he had been annoyed by its insufficient health pool leading to an anticlimactic quick kill. The plaza remained dead silent for a full 30 seconds. Supervisors stared at one another blankly, forgetting to distribute the mana recovery potions clutched in their hands. Hikaishan cleared his throat to regain his composure. You've accomplished something unprecedented in Tihas City's history. Solo clearing an 8th-tier black iron dungeon boss. Even the late Master Jean spent hours locked in combat against that creature back in his youth. He fixed his intense gaze on Su Chen, looking upon him as an irreplaceable treasure. Su Chen, now that you've reached level 6, I need to bring forward a matter I originally planned to discuss once you hit level 5. He leaned closer and lowered his voice. The Jiangnan Provincial Education Department created a special high-yield experience dungeon this year with only 2 admission slots allocated to our school. I was waiting for you to level up naturally, but your progress has far exceeded expectations. He paused, his tone turning solemn. One of those 2 slots is yours. The National College entrance examination is scheduled in 7 days' time. To secure admission into Sky Vault Academy, you should aim to raise your level to at least 15. Sky Vault Academy. Su Chen's eyes lit up with excitement. The Hawaiian Empire boasted countless higher learning institutions, each fiercely debated by students for their merits. Su Chen nodded firmly. The dungeon opens 5 days from today. Don't forget the date. Su Chen nodded while mulling over his next steps. Sticking rigidly to the school's structured training plan over the next 5 days would drastically slow his leveling speed. Glancing at his peers still traumatized by ordinary level 3 monsters, he voiced his request directly. I'd like to apply for the outer city trial. Leaving the city borders, Hika froze with surprise and Lu Guodong frowned with concern. You've only completed your first class advancement. Wilderness monster zones are far more hazardous than controlled beginner dungeons. You'll face random encounters and roaming high-level creatures with no safety buffers. Lu Guodong cautioned earnestly. Su Chen smiled faintly at the warning. The low-tier dungeons arranged by the school grant negligible experience gains. These monsters fall far too quickly to provide meaningful grinding value and only slow my growth rate. His statement made nearby students who had just fled from the furious wildcats nearly choke in exasperation at the blatant contrast. Hikaishin studied Su Chen's glowing level 6 status alongside the black iron chest plate and let out a long sigh before giving his approval. Your logic holds true. The school's public dungeons cap out at level 5 monsters at most, which would only waste your potential right now. He pulled an official permit stamped with number 1 middle school seal from his coat pocket and handed it over. This is a special pass granting you exit through 10 City's eastern gate. The wilderness lacks the safety of urban areas. Watch out for hostile awakener factions alongside wild monsters. Rogue players often ambush travelers to steal loot out there. Traveling alone puts you at risk. Prioritize fleeing if you encounter genuine danger. Hikaishin rambled with the nagging concern of a worried guardian. Thank you, Principal. Su Chen accepted the permit and left the plaza without further delay. The headmasters watched his departing silhouette, unable to calm their turbulent emotions. Number 1 middle school is truly nurturing a once-in-a-generation talent this time, the female principal commented with undisguised envy. Hikaishin rubbed his bald scalp, grinning from ear to ear while feigning humble modesty. It was nothing more than pure luck. The boss happened to be naturally fragile against poison damage. A venom lizard with 150 base stamina is anything but fragile. Lu Guodong retorted bluntly, yet his gaze towards Su Chen carried sincere admiration. Though the boy was not his student, he took pride in Tiha City producing such an extraordinary genius. Long after Su Chen's departure, the plaza's atmosphere grew more restless than ever. The blue dungeon veil flickered with increasing frequency, ejecting waves of exhausted students nonstop. The square echoed with constant groans and complaints, keeping the medical priest swamped with nonstop healing work. This is impossible to clear. Poison spiders lurk everywhere in the bushes. Their bites drain health faster than priests can heal us. A warrior tossed his cracked shield onto the ground, gasping heavily for air. Don't mention tree spirits from level 2 zones. Their physical defense is impenetrable. Our 3 physical attackers dealt single-digit damage per strike, and the creature regenerated health faster than we could deplete it. We burned through all our mana reserves after half an hour of futile combat. These regular mobs are brutal enough as is. I can't imagine how terrifying the level 5 elites deeper in the dungeon must be. Any student who survives an encounter with level 3 monsters in Scathe is already considered an expert among us. Students clustered in small groups, recounting their brutal dungeon struggles, and venting frustration over the monster's inflated defense and attack stats. Abruptly, the perpetually flickering blue veil burst with blinding light far brighter than any prior discharge. 5 figures materialized slowly from the glow, instantly hushing the noisy plaza as every gaze locked onto their forms. Leading the group was Lin Xing, her knee-high ponytail still intact despite the ordeal. Her originally elegant priest robes were stained with mud with a clear tear along the hemline. Her 4 teammates fared even worse. The tank warrior's armor was scored with deep claw marks, and the mage leaned limply against the assassin, completely drained of mana. Unlike the defeated, dejected masses scattered across the plaza, this 5-person team wore bright grins of hard-earned triumph. They were the final group to exit the dungeon, having exhausted every healing and mana supply until Lining, an S-rank hidden priest, had 0 mana left to cast spells. Look, that's Lin Xing's party. They held out for nearly 4 whole hours. The bloodstains on their gear mean they fought deep within the dungeon's inner zones. Lin Xing wiped sweat from her forehead. Sustained high-concentration spell casting left her with a splitting headache, yet her eyes burned with sharp alertness. She swept the plaza quickly in search of one familiar figure and marched straight over to Hika without pausing to catch her breath. Principal, where's Xiao Su? He must have exited early, right? Stubborn for refusing to team up with me. He must have fallen behind on experience gains by exiting this early. Kaishan parted his lips with a complicated expression while Lu Guodong twisted his head away to hide his twitching mouth. Hika picked up his teacup and sipped water to gather his words. Nothing bad has happened to Su Chen. He actually left roughly 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago, Lin Sharing huffed irritably. He spent barely 3 hours total inside the dungeon. Did he at least make it to level 2? Kaishan drew in a deep breath before answering plainly. He reached level 6. A beat of total silence fell over their small conversation bubble. Lin Xing blinked blankly in shock. Her party was handpicked through the Lin family's connections, boasting top-tier base stats among all participants. After over 4 hours of grueling combat, their average level only stood at 4. How could Su Chen hit level 6 in the same time frame? That can't possibly be true. Lin Xing's composed tone shattered with her raised voice. Even wiping out every level 1 and 2 mob on the outer dungeon perimeter wouldn't grant enough experience to hit level 6. As a top academic student, she had precise calculations for dungeon experience scaling memorized. Standard mobs truly don't yield sufficient experience. Kaishan stated grimly. He pushed deep into the dungeon core zones, cleared out the entire level 5 elite spawn area, found the experience lacking, and went on to slay the level 8 Black Iron boss, the 3-headed black-scaled venom lizard. He also looted a piece of Black Iron equipment from the boss drop. Lin Xing and her 4 teammates froze completely upon hearing the revelation. Lin Xing stamped her foot in exasperation. All the worry she had felt for Su Chen had been completely unnecessary. Her anger faded quickly into quiet relief afterward. Where is he now? She questioned the principal. He's headed home for the day. He plans to leave the city borders for wilderness grinding starting tomorrow and will no longer participate in school-organized dungeon runs. Leaving the city, Lin Searching's expression sharpened with alarm. How could you approve such a reckless decision alongside his foolish idea? He intends to apply for Sky Vault Academy admission, Kaishan explained gently. He needs rapid level progression to stand a fighting chance of acceptance, and city-managed dungeons no longer meet his experience requirements. Lin Xing's demeanor turned resolute. She knew better than anyone how brutally competitive Sky Vault Academy's admissions process was. Tiha City rarely produced a single admitted student each year. She clenched her fists tightly at her sides. If he's aiming for Sky Vault Academy, then so am I. I won't let Xiao Su pull ahead of me. Early the next morning, Tiana City, Route 104, public bus. A fetid blend of cheap tobacco smoke, stale sweat, and rusted metal hung thick inside the carriage. Su Chen sat by the window, observing the other passengers. No one spoke loudly, nor did anyone strike up casual conversation. The vehicle was crammed full, mostly with middle-aged people ranging from 30 to 50 years old. Some wore heavily worn crude leather armor, others threadbare patched mage ropes. A few clutched rusted iron swords with nicked blades or wooden ones flickering with faint, feeble mana glimmers. Their expressions were identical utter apathy. Their eyes were hollow, weighed down by bone, deep exhaustion, resembling hollow husks stripped of their souls. These were the lowest-rung professional awakeners of this world. The vast majority were permanently stuck below level 20. Level 20 required a formal class advancement ritual, a hurdle far beyond the reach of ordinary folk. To feed their families and cover Tiana City's exorbitant rent, they boarded this early morning bus bound for the East Gate. Like clocking into work each day, they headed for the outer zones of low-level monster territories, gambling on slaying a few slimes or crippled goblins to salvage junk materials for cash, a stark parallel to the overworked office drudges he'd witnessed in his past life. Su Chen mused inwardly. No matter the world, those trapped at the bottom of the social ladder could never catch a break. Attention passengers. We are arriving at the terminal, East City Gate. A cold robotic voice droned from the cracked speaker mounted on the carriage ceiling. Daily Field Danger Bulletin. Goblin tribes are highly active along the outer edges of the dim thicket. Parties below level 5 are advised to take an alternate route. An elite mutant rat king has appeared within the abandoned mine. Solo exploration is strictly discouraged. 342 professional awakeners perished outside Tina East Gate yesterday, with 716 sustaining severe injuries and 108 reported missing. Imperial law holds no jurisdiction over the wilderness beyond the city walls. All outbound awakeners are urged to objectively assess their combat strength and act within their limits. Daily exposure to such gruesome casualty figures had long since numbed them to the horror. In this reality, where video games had merged with the physical world, and the planet Blue Star had expanded 10,000 times its original size, peril was the cheapest commodity imaginable. The bus doors hissed open with a sharp pneumatic blast. Passengers flooded out like sardines pouring from a ruptured can, trudging mechanically toward the towering city ramparts. Su Chen did not follow the crowd straight out of the city. Instead, he turned toward a colossal building standing to the left of the gate. The Professional Awakeners Guild, constructed from solid obsidian that hummed with faint mana undulations, the guild compound dwarfed the dilapidated surrounding architecture. The guild occupied a uniquely pivotal position in this realm. Founded by humanity's most powerful top-tier awakeners and formally supervised by the national governing body. Put simply, it operated as the largest officially sanctioned trading hub in the region. Powerful warriors and mages gathered here in droves. One could consign or purchase materials, armaments, and skill of any tier, post bounties for tracking targets, monster extermination, or caravan escort missions. The guild even paid top price for newly mapped dungeon raid strategies. Wealth or sufficient strength granted access to nearly every resource one could desire within its walls. Naturally, the guild abided by strict regulations and prohibited illicit transactions. Su Chen pushed open the guild's heavy glass entrance door. The cavernous main hall boasted polished reflective flooring perfumed with refined aromatic incense. Unlike the worn-down commoners outside, patrons wandering the hall bore equipment glowing with bronze or even silver-tier radiance. Their demeanor calm and self-assured. Such walked directly to a service counter within the trading district. The appraiser behind the counter, a middle-aged man sporting a trimmed handlebar mustache, shot a fleeting glance at Su Chen. Spotting no guild insignia and plain unremarkable attire, he averted his gaze and spoke in a flat tone. Browse merchandise via the holographic screens over there if you're buying. Lay out your goods if you're looking to sell. Su Chen wasted no words, retrieving a compact dagger from his inventory bag and slamming it onto the countertop. Black Iron Venom Fong Dagger Tier. Black Iron. The appraisers skimmed the item stats with casual indifference. A level 5 black iron weapon with solid practical stats. Right now, high school students are pushing hard for their awakening exams, so the market demand is high for gear like this. He spoke in a purely transactional tone. Immediate liquid payout nets you 10,000 coins after tax. You may also opt for consignment auction listing. Su Chen quickly ran the numbers mentally. The average civilian salary across Tiana City hovered around 3,000 coins monthly. A mediocre black iron dagger fetching 10,000 coins spoke volumes about the warped local economy. Still, equipment drop rates were notoriously abysmal. Even basic black iron gear counted as priceless treasure for impoverished low-tier awakeners struggling just to put food on the table. I'll take the instant payment. The appraiser tapped the control panel and a system notification instantly popped up on Su Chen's status interface. Notification transaction completed. 10,000 coins acquired. Now with funds in hand, Su Chen headed for the general supplies retail section. Monster hunting and leveling demanded constant physical stamina. Venturing into the wilderness without adequate provisions was a death sentence. He spent 1,000 coins stocking up on compressed rations, purified water, a portable tent, and flint starters before proceeding to the material zone. A translucent blue hologram materialized, projecting the figure of an AI shopping guide. How may I assist you today? Pull up listings for skill orbs. Su Chen planned to level up to level 10 out in the wild before returning to the city, intending to learn new skills while still outside the city limits. Please wait a moment. Common grade basic skill orb. 1,100 coin stock remaining. 2,221. Black iron grade basic skill orb 130,000 coin stock remaining 659. Silver grade basic skill orb. 420,000 coin stock remaining. 168. Su Chen clicked his tongue in exasperation at the steep price tags. It was no wonder solo, independent awakeners rarely found long-term success. Even unlocking a single basic skill came with such an exorbitant cost. Grinding monster loot would take an eternity to scrape together enough capital. Gritting his teeth, he purchased 10 common grade basic skill orbs in one go. His coin purse was emptied almost immediately afterward. Back to square one, he muttered, stowing the skill orbs into his system inventory and moving toward the massive central quest hologram dominating the main hall. Hundreds upon hundreds of quest postings scrolled endlessly across its surface, commissioned by the military, the Awakeners Guild, major player factions, and individual contractors alike. Text color-coded each quest's difficulty tier. Goblin Eyeballs 10 coins per unit instant settlement upon delivery. Bulk purchase Mutant Poison Toad Hide 20 coins per unit direct acquisition by Morning Light faction. 0 outstanding debts. Enraged Wild Boar Tusks. Minimum bulk order of 10,000 pieces. Highest market price guaranteed for comparison. Goblins populated the wilderness in massive swarms. Mutant poison toads inhabited the eastern wetlands. Enraged wild boars roamed the outer edges of the sunset plains, and antidote grass grew abundantly throughout the woodlands. Committing these monster habitats to memory, Su Chen exited the guild and stepped into open sunlight. He raised a hand to shield his eyes from the harsh glare, staring toward the distant East City Gate. Past those towering walls lay a lawless frontier, an unchallenged domain ruled by ferocious monsters. Kinha City East Gate. The towering alloy city wall glinted with cold metallic sheen. Uniformed sentries clad in silver tier standard armor conducted routine inspections for every person passing through the gate checkpoint. Su Chen queued up with the stream of outbound travelers, inching forward step by step. Next in line, a square-jawed sentry rapped sharply against his workstation desk. Sounding impatient, Su Chen stepped forward and handed over his official identity card. The sentry swiped the card across a scanning device and data appeared on the monitor screen. Name: Su Chen, level 6 class Venom Mage. Frowning deeply upon reading the stats, the square-jawed sentry sized Su Chen up and down, his gaze lingering on the pitch-black explosion staff gripped in Su Chen's hand, undisguised disdain flickering across his face. The wilderness teemed with lethal threats. Even seasoned level 20 Awakeners who regularly ventured outside the city almost always traveled in teams, let alone a fledgling level 6 novice heading out completely alone. From the sentry's perspective, Su Chen's reckless solo expedition amounted to a suicide attempt. You are permitted to exit the city. The city defense force bears no responsibility for corpse recovery should you perish out there. The sentry tossed the identity card back to Su Chen in a frigid tone. I appreciate the reminder. Su Chen calmly retrieved his ID and strode straight through the gate. Watching Su Chen's retreating figure, a second sentry standing beside the first let out a mocking snort. Oldly, why waste your breath, warning him? Every year after the awakening ritual, countless overconfident students pull stunts just like this. The square-jaw sentry curled his lip dismissively. Level 6, heading into the wild unaccompanied. His level is decent enough, but he lacks any real field experience. Thinking minor victories in beginner dungeons make him invincible, 30 minutes tops, the second sentry held up 3 fingers with a smirk. Either he'll come scrambling back, begging for rescue within the half hour, or his remains will end up as carrying for wild beasts out there. The 2 guards exchanged amused grins and dismissed the incident entirely, resuming inspections for the next batch of outbound awakeners. Past the city gates, the scenery stood in stark contrast to the ordered safety within Tiana City's walls. Merely 1 kilometer beyond the guarded perimeter, the landscape devolved into crumbling rubble and overgrown, untamed wilderness. A faint tang of blood and rot lingered in the air. This was the true playground of monsters. Protective formation barriers shielded the safe zones inside city walls. But out here, only the brutal law of the jungle prevailed. Several nearby awakeners cast brief, weary glances at Su Chen before grouping up and marching deeper into the wilderness on their own paths. Su Chen did not linger in the outer low-level monster zone, plunging directly into the dense forest ahead. Shortly after entering the tree line, rustling noises echoed from the thick underbrush. 3 short, green-skinned humanoid goblins wielding crudely carved wooden clubs leaped out to block his path. Common Goblin Standard Mob Level 3 Strength 8 Agility 10 Stamina 15 Spirit 2 too low level to be worth my time. Su Chen did not even pause his footsteps. The goblins screeched shrilly and charged toward him brandishing their clubs. Such lifted his explosion staff and flicked his wrist casually without activating any formal spells. A faint condensed magic projectile launched forth, slamming into the chest of the leading goblin. This damage stemmed purely from the staff's basic auto attack, barely scratching the creature's tough hide. Yet, the instant the magic projectile made contact, a sickly green skull icon materialized above the goblin's head. Notification, trait, all things corrode triggered. 1 stack of deadly venom forcibly applied to target. Notification trait God of Venom triggered. Deadly venom stacks instantly maxed out. Current venom stack count on target, 43 layers. In the next heartbeat, an absurdly massive damage value floated upward above the goblin, 19,411. The goblin did not even have time to let out a final scream before its entire body dissolved into a puddle of neon green corrosive slime midair. A small burst of flame detonated atop the slime puddle, splashing searing embers onto the two remaining goblins. Identical system alerts immediately chimed once more for the pair of creatures. Notification trait, all things corrode activated. Notification trait God of Venom activated, 194,119,411. The two goblins suffered the same fate as their companion, melting away into corrosive sludge. Level 3 goblin eliminated. 15 experience obtained. 50 experience reduction applied due to level disparity. Identical notifications popped up for the second and third kills. Notification trait Doom Absorption activated. Maximum Venom stack capacity +3. Current maximum Venom stack limit 416 layers. Nothing valuable dropped from the 3 pools of dissolved goblin remains, leaving only stained dark green earth in their wake. Su Chen stared at the barren ground and shook his head faintly. Monster drop rates were just as abysmally poor out here as they had been within beginner dungeons. Earning a sustainable income solely by hunting these low-tier creatures would prove incredibly difficult. He did not bother bending down to check for loot. What frustrated him most was the pitiful experience gained. Killing foes weaker than my own level triggers severe expiation. These level 3 mobs are already having my experience gains. Su Chen glanced at his barely filled experience bar. Stacking venom limits works fine here, but leveling at this pace will drag on endlessly. Level progression mechanics in this world were brutally strict. Farming weaker enemies was never a viable shortcut to rapid level advancement. I need to seek out stronger targets. Without hesitation, Su Chen abandoned the outer low-level hunting grounds and quickened his pace deeper into the woodland. The forest grew progressively dimmer as he ventured inward, the air growing thick with oppressive pressure. Towering ancient trees rose overhead, and the thick layer of humus on the forest floor squelched softly under his boots. An hour later, Su Chen came to a halt. In the clearing ahead, a colossal wild boar roughly the size of a small pickup truck gorged itself on the carcass of an unknown beast. Thick black steel-like bristles covered its body, paired with 2 curved razor-sharp tusks glistening with fresh dried blood. Enraged Ironhide bore elite mob level, 10 strength, 45 agility, 20 stamina, 80 spirit, 10 abilities, charge rush, reinforced carapace. Its towering 80-point stamina stat translated to an enormous health pool paired with extremely high physical defense. A standard level 10 party would assign a dedicated tank to absorb frontal damage while mages chipped away at its health with gradual inefficient spell damage, spending several minutes whittling down its health bar to secure a kill. The boar detected Su Chen's presence, snapping its head around to fix bloodshot furious eyes squarely on him. A deafening roar boomed through the woods, planting its hind legs firmly against the ground. The beast barreled forward like an out-of-control armored truck, straight towards Su Chen. Enraged Ironhide boar has cast Charge Rush. The ground trembled beneath the boar's weight as dead branches and dry leaves swirled into a violent gust of wind. Su Chen stood rooted in place without making any evasive movement. He raised his explosion staff and loosed a basic magic missile toward the charging elite monster. The projectile struck dead center against the boar's thick armored forehead. The boar possessed formidable physical and magical resistance. This negligible damage barely registered as a minor irritation. It was, however, more than enough for Su Chen's purposes. A sickly green skull sigil ignited instantly above the boar's cranium. The charging iron hide boar stiffened abruptly mid-sprint. 19,552. Its massive bulk crashed heavily to the ground, less than 5 m away from Su Chen without a single struggle or cry of pain. The elite monster's massive health pool, bolstered by 80 stamina, crumpled like thin paper against the unmitigated true damage from his stacked venom. The carcass immediately began decomposing and liquefying the moment it collapsed. Within 2 short seconds, it dissolved into a large pool of foul-smelling green viscous fluid. Notification: Crossal elimination of level 10 elite enraged iron hide boar. 150 experience acquired. Trait Doom Absorption activated. Maximum venom stack capacity +1. Current maximum venom stack limit 417 layers. System chimes rang out crisply, and Su Chen's experience bar inched forward noticeably. Looks like something dropped. A faint glimmer of loot shimmered within the pool of liquefied flesh, tugging a faint, satisfied smile onto Su Chen's face. This was what proper monster farming ought to feel like. Cross-level kills, granting boosted experience alongside instant one-shot eliminations. He stepped forward and used a fallen branch to sift through the toxic muck, retrieving the dropped item obtained, Ironhide Boarhide ×1. Regular wild boars never shed this resource, resulting in solid market value at roughly 100 coins per hide. Su Chen glanced deeper into the dim thicket, listening to distant roars echoing from deeper wilderness zones. I'll camp out and grind levels here for now, but I need to stay vigilant. My first priority is hitting level 10 to unlock new spells. This was no virtual game world. Real-world dungeon bosses followed no predictable combat rules and could easily coordinate simultaneous assaults. Countless novice explorers had perished upon stumbling onto legendary tier bosses mere steps outside the city gates. He resolved to leave the deeper, more dangerous forest reaches for a later date. Simultaneously, Western District of Tiana City, a luxurious coach branded with a logo of Tihan No. 1 High School cruised smoothly down the paved city roadway. Inside the vehicle, newly graduated senior students who had just completed their awakening ritual chatted excitedly about their upcoming supervised expedition to the beginner dungeon, the Slime Plains. The school organized this escorted group run with teachers accompanying the class to safely guide new awakeners through the difficult level 2 to level 5 leveling phase. In the back row of the bus, a spiky blonde-haired teen named Wang Xiaoli frantically dialed a contact on his communicator. Beep, beep, beep. Where the hell is Chun hanging out? We were supposed to gather ages ago, and he's skipping free school-sponsored dungeon experience farming. Wang Xiaoli stared at the contact nickname marked Big Brother Chun, with a furrowed brow. As Su Chen's closest friend, Wang Xiaoli knew full well his companion's harsh living circumstances. Despite Su Chen possessing an SSS-ranked class, advancement in this world heavily relied on family resources and accumulated wealth. Without support from powerful clans, ordinary civilian awakeners faced an uphill battle in their early progression stages if they missed out on school-organized leveling opportunities. After nearly 30 seconds of ringing, the call finally connected. Su Chen's lazy tone drifted through the speaker, accompanied by the low rumble of heavy impacts in the background, akin to large bodies collapsing to the ground. Wang Xiaoli immediately lowered his voice, urgency sharp in his tone. Chun, where have you been? The coach left campus 10 minutes ago. If you don't hurry over now, you'll lose your spot for the Slime Plains dungeon run entirely. A brief pause came from Su Chen's end of the line. I'm already outside the city walls. Outside the city, Wang Sha's voice shot up an octave, drawing curious glances from several classmates seated toward the front of the bus. He quickly clamped a hand over his mouth and hissed in a hushed shout. Have you lost your mind? You're barely a newly awakened rookie. Heading into the wilderness is just asking to get killed by wild beasts. Turn back right now. I'll beg our homeroom teacher to make an exception and let you join our party at the dungeon entrance. Su Chen's tone remained perfectly calm. Grinding slimes for pitiful scraps of experience is far too slow for my pace. Wang Xiaoli fell into stunned silence. Pitiful scraps of experience. In that instant, a viral local news headline trending across Tiana City's regional forum flashed across Wang Xiaoli's mind. He swallowed hard, his voice trembling slightly with shock. Wait a second. Tell me the truth. Last night, the Education Bureau released an official notice. The Black Iron Tier dungeon boss, three-headed blacks, scale venom lizard, a monster no one had dared challenge for decades inside the novice dungeon, was slain out of nowhere. Wang Xiaoli clutched the communicator tightly, his heart pounding wildly. Was that really you who pulled off that feat? A brief silence fell on the other end of the line. Only the howling wind and rustling leaves drifted through the speaker. Wang Xiaoli grew anxious. Quit staying quiet to act impressive. Nah, there's no way I could beat such a powerful boss. Wang Xiaoli froze completely. The coach jolted slightly over the road. Yet, he felt as if struck by lightning, rigidly glued to his seat. This was bad. His friend always loved showing off in front of people he knew. If Su Chen had outright admitted to the kill, Wang Xiaoli would have been skeptical. Now he was fully certain Su Chen was the one responsible. A black tier boss. No player had defeated one for decades. What level are you even at now? Ignoring the throbbing pain on his scalp, he roared into the communicator. You only awakened your powers yesterday and you're level 7 already? I was stressing this morning just trying to get to level 3 and you're already at 7. Are you cheating with some kind of exploit? Faced with his best friend's barrage of questions, Su Chen replied in a calm, laid-back tone. No need for hype. Got to go. I've got a handful of level 10 elite mobs to clear out here. Beep, beep, beep. The call was cut short. Wang Xiaoli stood motionless in the coach aisle. The communicator still raised to his ear. Level 10 elite mobs. He glanced down at his own pitiful status panel. Level 232. Then looked out the coach window at his classmates, all buzzing with excitement, ready to head out to the slime plains to test their skills. A strong sense of absurdity washed over him. Was there even a shred of fairness left in this world? That's just ridiculous, Wang Xiaoli muttered to himself. Total blatant cheating. Several other students on the bus chimed in to condemn the apparent explorer. Time slipped by. Deep within the shadowy forest, the air reeked thickly of blood. Hundreds of corpses of enraged, ironclad boars littered the ground. Or, more accurately, hundreds of puddles of acrid green sludge left in their wake. For an entire day, Su Chen had advanced relentlessly like an unstoppable bulldozer, wiping out every boar monster in this zone without pause. Defeated level 10 elite monster enraged ironclad boar. Plus 150 experience. Trait doom absorption triggered. Maximum poison stack limit +1. A brilliant golden light flared up beneath Su Chen's feet once more. Notification level up to level 9. Obtained 5 free attribute points. Su Chen opened his status panel out of habit, allocating the points as usual. 3 points into spirit, 2 points into stamina. He checked his current stats. Current maximum poison stack capacity, 732 stacks. The leveling pace is still too slow. Su Chen kicked a stray boulder out of his path with a sigh. After a full day of non-stop grinding, he had reached level 9 and stacked his poison up to 732 layers. But he had noticed a glaring issue. Even though defeating level 10 monsters granted the same fixed experience value, his experience bar filled at a glacial crawl as his level rose. He was debating whether to relocate to a higher-level monster zone when a deafening boom echoed from deep in the woods ahead. The ground shuddered violently and towering ancient trees crumpled in swaths, flattened as if run over by a heavy industrial roller. A colossal beast lumbered out from the shadowed foliage. This terrifying monstrosity was 3 times larger than the enraged ironclad boars he had been fighting. Its body was encased in armor as solid as cast bronze, paired with 2 3M long dark golden tusks. Blistering hot gusts billowed from its nostrils with every breath. Its blazing eyes locked onto Su Chen, and the puddles of its kin dissolved into sludge all around, unleashing a soul-shaking roar. Bloodthirsty steel boar sovereign bronze tier boss level. 15 strength, 150 agility, 50 stamina, 400 spirit, 30 skills, war stomp, bronze carapace, wild frenzy, absolute charge. Such cursed under his breath. 400 stamina translated to an astronomically high health pool for this bronze tier boss, paired with near impenetrable defensive armor. For any ordinary player, even a well-coordinated 20-person party would hesitate to engage this level 15 bronze boss head-on. Raw stat disparity was often an instant death sentence. The Boar's Sovereign gave Su Chen no time to react and immediately activated Absolute Charge. Its massive frame blurred into a bronze streak, shattering every tree in its path and sending with splinters flying everywhere. Why does every monster I run into just charge non-stop? Do they all have a fixation on rushing targets? Su Chen stood rooted to the spot without taking a single step backward. He lifted his explosion staff and flicked his fingertips. A basic magic missile streaked forward. The projectile slammed against the boar's thick bronze plating without leaving the faintest scratch. 36 damage floated above the boss's head. The boar's sovereign let out a mocking snarl and accelerated its charge even further. In the very next instant, a sickly green skull mark ignited sharply at top its massive head. Notification trait all things corrode triggered. Forcibly apply 1 stack of poison. Notification trait poison god triggered. Poison stacks instantly maxed out. Current poison stacks on target. 732 stacks. The charging, bloodthirsty steel boar sovereign jolted to an abrupt halt mid-sprint. With Su Chen's current spirit stat of 59 multiplied by his 732 poison stacks, his poison dealt a staggering 43,188 true damage every single second. Yet unlike every other monster he had killed, this bronze boss did not melt into sludge instantly. It let out a shrill, Agonizing scream. Its body enveloped in a thick crimson aura. Notification. Bloodthirsty Steel Boar's Sovereign activates Wild Frenzy. Temporary maximum health points increased. Immune to crowd control effects. Passive Bronze Carapace activated, granting massive damage resistance. The towering beast forced itself to stop its forward momentum only 10 away from Su Chen. Its bloodshot eyes bore into him fiercely, and it lumbered forward again despite its health points draining rapidly each second. Managed to survive one full second. That's somewhat interesting. A flicker of surprise crossed Su Chen's face as he watched the boss resist instant elimination. The sheer bulk and durability truly lived up to its bronze tier classification, sturdy enough to tank a full second of his poison burst. For regular vocation holders, they could not even hope to break through its defenses, let alone withstand a single basic attack. Pure, overwhelming stat suppression. Second tick for 3,188. The boar's charge closed the distance to 5 The foul hot wind from its breath already ruffled the hem of Su Chen's clothing. It raised its sharp golden tusks high, ready to pierce the human before it completely. Third tick 43,188. The ferocity faded abruptly from the boar's sovereign's eyes. Its mountainous frame lost all support and crashed heavily onto the ground. Momentum carried its corpse, sliding several meters forward, stopping directly at Su Chen's feet. No final roar echoed, only the sickening sound of flesh rapidly dissolving echoed through the woods. Defeated level 15 bronze tier boss Bloodthirsty Steel Boar Sovereign by level gap advantage. Plus 150,000 experience. Trait Doom Absorption triggered. Maximum poison stack limit +1. Current maximum poison stack capacity 734 stacks. A blinding pillar of golden light shot straight upward from Su Chen's body. Level up to level 10. Obtained 5 free attribute points. Finally, hit level 10. Su Chen let out a slow breath and assigned the newly acquired 5 attribute points once more to 3 spirit and 2 stamina. He looked down toward the ground. The massive bronze boar corpse had fully dissolved into a thick pool of green liquid with bright glimmers shimmering within the sludge. A massive loot drop, slaying the boss while vastly outleveled, that forced the beast to drop all its accumulated treasures. Su Chen stepped forward and used a branch to fish out each glowing item one by one. Bloodthirsty Boarhide Greaves Bronze Boar Sovereign Tough Hide. Bronze Tier Crafting Material Gold Coins times 498. Bloodthirsty Boarhide Greaves Rank. Bronze Tier Equip Requirement Stamina higher than 20 plus 50 Stamina. AX1 plus 10 Physical Defense. Dash 20 toward a designated direction. Stop upon colliding with the first target hit. Deals physical damage equal to twice your strength value and stuns the target for 1 second. 2 bonus affixes. Such exclaimed upon reading the Greaves stats. The 10% based physical defense buff was modest on paper, but percentage scaling grew impactful with higher base stamina, and Su Chen already boasted an unusually high stamina value for a mage, making the bonus quite substantial. The second AX was an exceedingly rare skill inscribed onto equipment. Gear with embedded active skill sold for multiple times the price of ordinary gear of the same tier. I didn't expect to loot the boss's own charge ability. This skill had great practical utility, functioning similarly to a warrior's charge dash. For such Sean, it would serve primarily as an emergency escape tool alongside a method to forcibly stun hostile targets for a full second. An incredibly useful piece of gear. He pulled up his full character sheet to review his updated stats. Name: Su Chen level 10-0 vocation. Venom Mage, triple S rank, unique hidden class strength 19 agility 17 stamina 103 spirit 63 unique vocation traits. All things corrode poison god doom absorption. Skills: basic scouting. Current poison stacks: 734 equipped gear explosion staff. Black tier reinforced black iron chest plate. Black tier bloodthirsty boarhide greaves bronze tier woe. Su Chen stared at his updated stats in shock. His spirit attribute had climbed all the way to 63 without him noticing. Even more absurdly, his stamina had surged to 103, higher than pure stamina tank warriors who invested every single point into durability. This build is completely overpowered. How is anyone supposed to compete against this? Su Chen sighed softly. No one could possibly understand the loneliness of being far stronger than every opponent around him. He closed the status window and rubbed his hands together excitedly. Now that I'm level 10, time to unlock a new skill. Su Chen took a deep breath and crushed a basic skill stone from his inventory. Used one common basic skill stone. Skill awakening failed. No new skill learned. The stone crumbled into fragments on the forest floor. Figured it wouldn't work on the first try. Su Chen did not grow discouraged. Skill awakening was never a guaranteed success rate. Rumors stated that rarer vocation classes faced drastically lower odds when unlocking new abilities. He kept crushing more skill stones, one after another. Used one common basic skill stone. Used one common basic skill stone. 10 ordinary skill stones shattered in sequence. Every single attempt ending in failure. Are these drop rates seriously this terrible? Su Chen frowned and pulled out the black tier skill stone he had looted from the starter dungeon earlier. He gritted his teeth and crushed it firmly in his palm. The next instant, a system notification popped up. Used one black tier basic skill stone. Learned ability corrosive serpent sentinels. Corrosive serpent sentinels. So basically stationary poison serpent turrets. Su Chen opened the skill description to read its full mechanics. Su Chen's eyes widened sharply at the final line of the skill explanation. Permanent cap permanently tied to your maximum poison stack limit. Su Chen's gaze darted back to his status panel. Current poison stack 734. This meant a single cast of this skill would spawn 734 corrosive serpent sentinels in an instant. 734 turrets. In this world, even a talented level 10 summoner could barely sustain 3 fragile skeleton minions at most, even after spending all their gold on mana recovery potions. Su Chen could deploy an entire battalion's worth of summon units with one simple gesture. As a longtime veteran gamer, Su Chen's mind raced to calculate the raw damage output. His spirit stats sat at 63 right now. A single sentinel dealt 50.4 damage per hit, 63 by 0.8. If all 734 sentinels focused fire on one target simultaneously, the total theoretical damage output reached 36,993 damage every single second. And he was only level 10 at this moment. Even level 40 mages needed a full 10 seconds of spell channeling to unleash a powerful ultimate ability, rarely breaking 10,000 damage total. Meanwhile, Su Chen could deploy his entire turret formation instantly with zero casting animation, locked behind only a 15-second cooldown. A terrifying mechanical synergy suddenly dawned on him. His vocation trait, All Things Corrode, applied poison stacks through any form of damage he dealt. Damage originating from his summoned sentinels counted as damage dealt by the player himself under the game's damage calculation rules. If the trait applied to the serpent turret attacks as well, this is ridiculously broken. A chill ran down Su Chen's spine. A full field of serpent turrets could apply poison stacks to over 700 individual targets every second. Worse still, the skill's upper scaling limit directly scaled with his poison stacks, which he could raise infinitely through doom absorption by simply defeating more monsters. Other players progressed by farming better equipment and unlocking stronger skills as they leveled up. Su Chen only needed to continuously slay monsters to grow stronger indefinitely. 1,000 stacks, 10,000 stacks, 100,000 stacks. Even god-tier world bosses would be drowned under the venom of 100,000 serpent sentinels the moment they stepped into his attack radius. There's a catch, though. Each sentinel costs 10 mana to spawn. My current spirit pool won't let me summon the full hilt all at once. Su Chen muttered quietly, noticing the obvious drawback of the ability. It was fortunate he had prioritized investing attribute points into spirit. After all, spirit remained the core stat for any mage build. Soft rustling footsteps echoed across the fallen leaves, cutting through the quiet forest air. Su Chen's eyes sharpened as he quickly closed all open interface windows. 5 figures emerged from the thick trees, spreading out in a semicircle to box Su Chen in, surrounding the large puddle of dissolved bronze boss remains. The leader was a bald brute clad in chainmail caked with mud and dried blood, gripping a massive two-handed greatsword. Level 11 Rogue Wong Foam. Level 12 Mage, Jin Tang Gang. Level 12 Archer, Jin Tianshan. Level 12 Archer. Hey there, kid. Bald warrior Zhang Gang forced a warm smile and strode forward with overly friendly enthusiasm. We sensed the aura of a bronze-tier boss while grinding nearby and rushed over to lend a hand. Are you all right? Did you get injured at all? The gaunt mage Wang Fo spoke up with a cold, malicious tone. Yeah, young student. The deep parts of the shadowy forest are no place for newly awakened beginners like you. That boss must have been slain by some high-level passing expert, right? Where's that powerful player now? They automatically assumed a high-ranking veteran had taken down the level 15 bronze boss. As for the teenage boy standing before them, he was most likely tagging along with a stronger adult to leech experience or had simply stumbled upon the boss's corpse by pure luck. Su Chen stood unmoved, watching their transparent act without the slightest urge to play along. No help is needed. Su Chen brushed dust off his palms, his tone calm and flat. I killed the boss, and I've already collected all the loot. You'd best move along to another hunting ground if you've got no other business here. The air in the forest turned icy the second the words left his mouth. Jing Gang's warm smile vanished instantly, replaced by a vicious scowl. You killed it. He let out a bitter laugh as if Su Chen had just told an absurd joke, driving his great sword into the ground with a heavy clang. You're choosing the hard way then, brat. Judging by your shoddy gear, there's no way you took down that boss. Hand over all the equipment and materials you picked up, and I might show mercy and spare your life. As he finished speaking, the Rogli Pong circled silently to Su Chen's rear flank, twirling two sharp daggers between his fingers with a cold smirk. Both archers had already drawn their bowstrings, arrowheads locked directly on Su Chen's forehead. Don't be foolish. Wang Fong ignited a flame at the tip of his staff. All 5 of us are experienced players above level 10. 5 against 1. What possible chance do you stand? Hand over your backpack willingly before we take it from you by force. 5 combatants against a lone opponent. 5 players averaging level 12 against what they perceived as a weak novice. To any rational person, this was an unavoidable death trap. Su Chen listened to the mage's threats, lowering his head as his shoulders began to shake slightly. Quiet chuckles rumbled out from his throat before erupting into unrestrained loud laughter. Jing Gang grew unsettled by the sound and roared angrily. What in the world are you laughing at? I'm laughing at how poor your math skills are. Su Chen lifted his head sharply, his gaze devoid of fear, filled only with mocking disdain. He tapped the tip of his explosion staff lightly against the forest floor. Come forth, corrosive serpent sentinels. A sickly green magic circle exploded outward across the leaf litter, centering on Su Chen's position. No lengthy casting animations. No flashy visual effects to herald the summon. 25 thick, sickly green wooden stakes burst upward from the soil surrounding the 5 hunters. Each stake stood over a meter tall, wrapped with solidified venomous serpents that raised their heads high. Slitted scarlet eyes fixed firmly on the 5 bounty hunters trapped within the formation. 25 corrosive serpent sentinels summoned. In this world, summoning 3 minions was considered an impressive feat for early-game summoners. Right now, 25 venom-drenched sentinels formed a wall of deadly poison foliage, completely sealing off every escape route for the 5 men. So now, Su Chen tilted his head to the side, his smile turning cold and cutting. Who exactly has the 5-to-1 numerical advantage now? Thick veins bulged across Jing Gang's face as he stared at the wall of looming venomous serpents. A cold dread shooting straight up his spine from the base of his skull. Cheap parlor tricks. Nothing but rotten wooden stakes. Jing Gang roared and unleashed the warrior's dash ability. As a level 10 warrior, he had naturally mastered this skill. His two-handed great sword howled through the air and crashed hard into the nearest snake sentinel. The blade cleaved the wooden serpent pillar clean in 2, yet the remaining 24 pillars were far from idle spectators. 24 venomous snakes bared their fangs in unison. Splat, splat, splat. A deluge of concentrated venom washed over the 5P-person party in an instant. 4,134. Damage figures floated wildly above their heads. Each member took different damage values based on their varying defense stats. But this was merely the opening strike system prompt. Trade all things rot activated. Targets inflicted with the deadly venom debuff. 4,600. 24,246,242 46,242. Piercing screams tore through the shadowy forest. The gaunt mage failed to conjure his mana shield in the brief window of time. His health bar emptied completely within fractions of a second. His body melted like a candle wax, dissolving into a puddle of acidic green liquid. Flesh and bone reduced to nothing. The rogue tried to flee with Shadow Step, but he collapsed to the ground barely 2 steps into his cloaked escape. His remains hissing and bubbling toxic fumes. No. Spare me. Have mercy, master. Somehow, Jing Gang clung to life for a single extra second. He watched in horror as his treasured chainmail dissolved like tissue paper amid the corrosive venom, stretching a trembling hand towards Su Chen in utter despair. Su Chen stared back at him with a blank expression. Those who rob and kill others must accept the consequence of dropping their loot when defeated. The next second, the burly warrior's body disintegrated entirely. Current maximum accumulated venom stacks, 739 layers. The entire battle lasted no more than 5 seconds from start to finish. Silence settled over the woods once more, broken only by the faint sway of the 24 snake sentinels choking the air with suffocating poison gas. Su Chen waved a hand and dismissed his summoned sentinels. This is my first time taking a life, yet I feel nothing out of the ordinary. Probably because this world functions so much like an online game. Still, I never knew eliminating foes could raise my venom stacks. Su Chen muttered to himself deep in thought. I've got a rather risky plan. Maybe it's better not to act on reckless impulses. He shook his head and walked toward the pools of liquefied remains. The 5 victims' backpacks spilled open across the ground alongside pieces of their equipped gear. Su Chen knelt down to loot the corpses. Fine steel boots level 10 iron tier equipment requires 15 strength, 20 stamina passive bonus plus 20 physical defense. Hyena hide armor level 8 iron tier equipment requires 13 agility, passive bonus plus 2 attack speed. Summoner's ring level 10 iron tier equipment plus 10 spirit requires minimum 30 spirit stat. Passive bonus summon units gain plus 100 health. Only these 3 pieces of iron tier gear held real value along with piles of low-grade crafting materials and over 3,000 gold coins. Su Chen paid no mind to the common grade equipment, questioning only whether his snake pillars counted as summoned entities for the ring's buff. After equipping the ring, his spirit stat rose by 10 points to 73 total. He summoned a single snake sentinel to test the effect. The newly conjured pillar was noticeably thicker and sturdier, its health pool boosted by a flat 100 health points. At its current stats, a single charge slash from a warrior like Jing Gang would no longer shatter it outright. This synergy is absurdly overpowered. Su Chen had not anticipated his poison constructs benefiting from summoner equipment bonuses. The potential of his triple S rank class far exceeded all his prior expectations. He stowed the loot and glanced impassively at the toxic puddles left of his attackers. Corpses were a common sight outside the city walls, but this spot sat fairly close to the city gate. He could not risk passers by discovering the scene and reporting the deaths to authorities. Pulling a jar of special incendiary grease purchased earlier from the Adventurers Guild out of his bag, he prepared to incinerate every trace of the conflict. Suddenly, dry twigs crunched under footsteps nearby. Su Chen's brows drew together sharply. Does more trouble have to show up now? Before Su Chen could command his snake sentinels to attack, a cool female voice echoed from the shadows a dozen meters away. A sharp deodorant scent drifted through the air, masking the natural human odor left at the scene. Su Chen did not lift his head. His detonation staff glowed faintly as he locked his spiritual perception firmly onto the source of the voice. Relax. I mean no harm whatsoever. The shadows warped, and a short-haired young woman stepped into view. She wore form-fitting dark gray leather armor, marked with visible stitching from repeated repairs with a thin braid woven from a lock of hair at her right temple pinned neatly against her ear. Her most striking feature was a badge pinned to her chest. His scout skill returned only basic identification data. The obscured level reading meant she possessed a special concealment artifact. Su Chen studied the emblem on her chest with quiet contemplation. After a few beats of silence, he spoke. What do you want? Song Zin halted 15 m away, the standard safe distance for random encounters between wandering adventurers. Approaching uninvited like the previous 5 men was tantamount to declaring open hostilities. Her gaze drifted past Su Chen to the unrecognizable puddles of dissolved human remains, and she swallowed hard in quiet shock. What kind of venom can completely reduce human bodies into toxic liquid like this? Hey, can we strike a deal? Song Shin gestured toward the puddles on the ground. These men are high-priority bounties on the wanted list with a combined reward of 3,000 gold coins. Since you're not a registered bounty hunter, you cannot claim the payout. Sell the remains to me, and I'll hand you 500 gold right now. Su Chen glanced back and forth between the murky green pools and the assassin. Are you certain there is anything recoverable here? I have reliable methods to process them. Su Chen fell into quiet deliberation. 3,000 gold worth of bounties for a mere 500 payment. This middle woman was making an outrageous profit margin off the deal. I'm not selling. Su Chen turned her offer down without hesitation. Even if he could not collect the bounty himself, he had no way of knowing her true motives. Song Xin gritted her teeth, speaking with obvious reluctance. 800 gold. That is my absolute ceiling. The guild these criminals belong to is notoriously dangerous, and I'll be taking major risks cleaning up this evidence. Still not interested? Su Chen twisted his staff between his fingers. If you intend to take these by force, feel free to try. The tip of the detonation staff ignited with sickly emerald light and the surrounding air plummeted in temperature. Song 11 intensed instantly, her hands drifting instinctively toward the daggers sheathed at her waist. She took a deep breath, released her grip on her weapons, and raised both hands in a gesture of surrender. Though this man was only level 10, he had effortlessly wiped out a group of higher-level combatants without sustaining injury. There was clearly something abnormal about his power. The faint sense of mortal danger rolling off him kept her from making any aggressive moves. Fine, keep the remains then. Fighting only creates unnecessary trouble between us. Song Xin shrugged. If the corpse deal falls through, how about an information trade instead? Su Chen said nothing, simply watching her. I'll trade you the coordinates to a secret dungeon. Song Xin laid out her bargaining chip, a hard-tier dungeon scaled for players level 10 to 15. I stumbled across the entrance 2 days ago, but my level exceeds the access cap, so I can't enter. Major guilds would easily pay 2,000 gold for this intel. I'm offering it to you alongside taking these remains just to build a friendly rapport. Do we have a deal? Su Chen raised an eyebrow slightly. A hard-tier dungeon restricted to levels 10 through 15. Dungeons and secret realms operated under entirely separate rules in this world. Standard dungeons were fixed, folded spatial nodes accessible anytime as long as players met level and party size requirements with static monster spawns and fixed loot tables. Secret realms, however, manifested as random temporary spatial fissures with unstable lifespans. Most importantly, each secret realm was a one-time instance. Once cleared by any party, the realm would vanish permanently. Every reward, experience point yield, and rare equipment drop within belongs solely to the clearing player. Su Chen nodded his agreement. Song Xin exhaled in relief, pulling a tattered parchment sheet from her inventory. She sketched a rough map with charcoal, crumpled the paper into a ball, and tossed it across the gap to Su Chen. Su Chen caught the crumpled parchment and unfolded it to examine the markings. System prompt. Obtain special map item. Windbreak Valley dungeon coordinates. It's yours now. After verifying the map's authenticity, Su Chen stepped backward to grant her access to the liquefied bodies. Song Jian brightened visibly and hurried forward. She pulled several clear crystal vials from her pack and efficiently siphoned the green toxic liquid into each container with practiced movements. Once she finished securing the collected material, Song Xin leaned back against a large boulder nearby and bit down on a hard travel ration from her waist pouch. This line of work is truly brutal. She mumbled through mouthfuls of dried food. Su Chen settled against a tree root at a distance that let him react to threats instantly, retrieving water and dried rations from his own bag to eat. You attend Tanong Academy, correct? A top-tier elite student sneaking out late at night to work bounty corps recovery jobs. Su Chen had asked the question partially because the authentic academy emblem reassured him the trade carried less inherent risk. Counterfeiting Tianyang Academy insignias carried severe legal penalties. Song Xian rolled her eyes and washed down her food with a sip of water. Elite student is far from the truth. Students without wealthy family backgrounds can barely scrape by within Tian's walls. Without enough merits, you cannot even dine on the third floor of the campus cafeteria. Su Chen tilted his head. So, bounty hunting is how you earn them? Don't get me started. Song Xin sighed with frustration. Our professor has an unorthodox teaching method he calls individualized training. He claims assassin students without family backing can only grow stronger by enduring life or death combat. He dumped a stack of bounty assignments on us and labeled the hunts our semester final exam. She nodded toward the sealed vials holding the dissolved criminals. These targets were part of my exam checklist. I never expected someone else to eliminate them first. I would have fought you for the bounties if I stood a fighting chance. Song Xian spoke plainly and honestly. Open transparency like this was a form of safety during wilderness encounters. Everyone acted out of self-interest and peaceful coexistence was possible as long as competing goals did not clash. Su Chen chewed slowly on his ration. This professor had a ruthless teaching style, forcing first-year students to hunt wanted criminals for grades. Still, Tianyang Academy's brutal survival of the fittest framework explained its reputation as one of the continent's most prestigious learning institutions. About the dungeon, Su Chen tapped the parchment map in his hand. What details do you know about what waits inside? Song Zin shook her head. I only used my scan spell near the entrance to confirm its hard rating and level 10 to 15 lockout. The gateway sits beneath a cliff face in Windbreak Valley, guarded by several level 14 elite monsters. I didn't dare get close enough to scout further. Without another word to Song Zin, Su Chen dusted off his clothes and walked into the dark woodland toward Windbreak Valley per the map's directions. Here's hoping this dungeon drops valuable loot. Song Zin stared after his retreating figure from beside her small campfire, utterly dumbfounded. Is this person really just a high school student? He extracted the information he needed and left without a single unnecessary word, moving with the caution and weariness of a seasoned veteran rather than a teen. Are modern high schoolers this sharp and guarded these days? He even knew to wipe evidence of the killings. I originally planned to wait for him to leave and claimed the collected toxic remains for myself for extra profit. Then again, he still has plenty left to learn. Once Su Chen put enough distance between them, he stopped at a sheltered spot and lit a small campfire. Night wind rustled through the treetops as the fire crackled softly. Su Chen sat beside the flames and chugged a bottle of basic mana recovery potion. System prompt: consumed basic mana recovery potion, restored 50 mana points. The pale blue liquid soothed the mental fatigue weighing on his mind. He waved his staff casually. Dozens of dark purple totem pillars, his corrosive snake sentinels rose from the ground surrounding his position, their serpent heads flicking venomous tongues and exuding oppressive toxic mist. 120 sentinels stood assembled in total. Su Chen massaged his temples as overwhelming dizziness washed over him, leaving his body drained and exhausted, akin to pulling multiple all-nighters with no rest whatsoever. The mana cost for this ability is ridiculously steep. He pulled up his character status panel to review his stats. His 73 spirit stat was well above average for players at his level bracket. Each individual corrosive snake sentinel consumed 10 mana points upon summoning. Maintaining 140 sentinels simultaneously pushed his mana pool to its absolute hard limit. His mana gauge sat completely empty, drained dry. Su Chen internally lamented the massive resource drain. Powerful as his summoning skill was, the constant mana expenditure was unsustainable long-term. I need to prioritize acquiring equipment with mana regeneration or mana cost reduction modifiers in my next round of gear upgrades. He drank another mana potion and nibbled on his rations, while sorting out his next plan of action. My Snake Sentinel scale with summoner bonuses. I could hunt down optimized summoner gear to boost their performance further. Poison Mage wielding summoner equipment was an odd build combination by any standard in this world. However, any gear setup was valid as long as the stat bonuses translated to tangible combat power. Even bludgeoning enemies to death with a staff was acceptable if the numbers favored you. Such leaned back against the tree trunk to rest his eyes. Several hours passed before faint dawn light streaked across the horizon. He stamped out the campfire and set off toward the hidden dungeon, following Song Zan's marked coordinates. 2 hours later, Windbreak Valley. Su Chen stood atop a high bluff overlooking the valley floor, his expression twinging with disbelief. How exactly was this labeled a secluded hidden dungeon? The entire valley bustled with crowds packed shoulder to shoulder. Armored enforcers wearing matching guild uniforms stretched according directly in front of the dungeon portal. The crowded scene resembled a busy highway service station during peak holiday travel. Truly a perfectly secluded dungeon location, huh? Su Chen breathed out a sharp huff of exasperation. He immediately pieced together what had transpired. Song Xin had traded widely publicized common information for his hard-earned bounty materials, likely hoping he would get overwhelmed and killed inside the dungeon. A textbook bait and switch scam. I will repay this deceptive trick with full interest sooner or later. Su Chen etched the dead against Song Zin in his mind. This world operated purely on survival of the fittest, and no stranger could ever be fully trusted. Instead of giving way to pointless rage, he tidied his equipment and descended the slope into the gathered crowd. Secret realms often featured multiple entry gates that spawn isolated individual instances for each party that enters. Murmured complaints drifted over as he walked into the throng of adventurers. This dungeon is practically impossible to clear. My group wiped out barely 10 minutes after going in. Our mages couldn't even scratch the monster's armor plating. These creatures have absurdly high physical resistance paired with heavy magic damage reduction. Su Chen listened closely, gathering every scrap of combat intel available. More information was always an advantage. He cast his scout skill on the swirling multicolored portal before him. Sea of Oblivion Stones dungeon rank hard tier level restriction levels 10 to 15 party capacity. Maximum 5 members clearance time limit 8 hours. Song Shin had not lied about the dungeon's hard classification at the very least. Hey man, what's the actual situation in this dungeon? Why have so many groups gotten wiped out? Su Chen approached a defeated-looking warrior standing nearby. The warrior sighed heavily, still trembling from his near-death experience. It's nothing but rock golems everywhere. Their defense values are through the roof. We couldn't land meaningful damage no matter what we tried. On top of that, they attack in massive swarms that overwhelm healers' ability to sustain the party's health pools. There's no viable way to hold the aggro. Extremely high defense paired with monster swarms. Whoever designed this dungeon layout had zero mercy for players. Tell me about it. Su Chen nodded in feigned agreement while inwardly celebrating. Max dual damage resistances, endless monster swarms. This dungeon was tailor-made for stacking his venom layers. His true damage effects ignored all defensive stats entirely. No matter how thick a monster's hide or stone exterior might be, true damage treated heavily armored foes the same as squishy low-health targets. Make way. Clear a path. Berserker Guild is forming a party. A loud gruff shout cut through the crowd from the front of the gathering. Several members wearing Berserker Guild regalia marched forward with arrogant confidence. The lead brute raised a megaphone to address the assembled adventurers. Recruiting 2 high-health warrior tanks, minimum level 10 with iron tier gear preferred. We have a level 15 elite mage as our primary damage dealer. Each member receives 1,000 gold upon successful dungeon clearance. Su Chen clicked his tongue in disapproval. The rewards for clearing a hard-tier dungeon were immensely valuable. Overall, the guild was offering a measly 1,000 gold per participant while pocketing the bulk of the dungeon rewards for themselves. Corporate greed translated across every world. It seemed the brute scanned the crowd until his gaze locked onto Su Chen. The words Poison Mage were clearly labeled beneath Su Chen's class identifier. Unfamiliar with the class, the guild leader called out to him. "You there, kid? What abilities does this Poison Mage class have?" Su Chen replied plainly, "I throw poison-based spells. Don't waste our time." The man lost all interest instantly and resumed recruiting level 15 warriors. Poison damage would be useless against golems with massive magic resistance, especially with the strict 8-hour clear deadline. Poison damage would take far too long to wear down the dungeon's inhabitants. Su Chen paid the dismissal no mind, gripping his staff and walking straight through the dungeon portal. The surrounding onlookers reacted with visible shock. Whoa, that kid just went in alone. Typical reckless teen move. I'd wager he's still in high school. Making level 10 as a student is impressive enough on its own, but attempting a hard dungeon solo? That's pure arrogance. He'll be sprinting back out defeated within 5 minutes. Mark my words. You have entered the secret realm, Sea of Silent Stones. Warning, this is a high-risk zone. All monster attributes are greatly enhanced. Proceed with caution during your exploration. A violent distortion swept across his vision, and Su Chen found himself transported into an utterly unfamiliar world. He lifted his gaze toward the sky. A gloomy, oppressive gray expanse stripped of sunlight, filled with drifting stone, dust, and gravel. The land was cracked and parched, covered with jagged stone pillars and piles of boulders. From the rubble rose over a dozen humanoid creatures forged from top rock. They swayed their bulky frames and slowly twisted their heads toward him. Their eye sockets glowed with menacing dark red light, and their bodies were clad in thick natural stone armor. Su Chen cast Detect Insight casually. Hardened Stone Golem level 10, Strength 80 Agility, 15 Stamina 350 Spirit, 10 Skill Stone. Carob's passive reduces all incoming physical and magical damage by 60. Su Chen stared at the system stats and drew a sharp breath. No way is this really a common level 10 mob. Its stamina stat shot straight up to 350 points. Strength sits at a whopping 80 points as well. Ordinary level 10 wild mobs outside barely top out at 50 to 60 stamina points. Even the elite monsters he'd hunted nonstop only had 80 stamina in total. These hardened stone golems boasted stats far superior to standard level 10 elite foes from the overworld. Worse still was their passive stone carapace, slashing all incoming damage by a solid 60. No wonder secret realms are far deadlier than regular dungeons. Could players even break through these defenses at level 15? Su Chen muttered quietly. Against such heavy damage resistance and massive health pools, Regular physical or mage classes would land nothing but negligible scratch damage here. Even fully stacked elite parties would eventually burn through all their mana and supplies against these creatures. A faint smirk tugged at the corner of Su Chen's mouth regardless. He raised his burst staff, channeling mana through his veins. Summon Corrosive Snake Warden. Notice 10 mana consumed. Corrosive Snake Warden X1 summoned. A dark green totem pole burst upward from the ground right before Su Chen. A serpent head emerged, thick venom pooling atop its fangs. A stream of venom struck one hardened stone golem dead on. A pitiful damage value floated above the monster's head. Su Chen's spirit stat rested at 73, meaning his snake warden should deal nearly 58 poison damage per strike. Yet, the golem's defenses whittled that value down to a mere 15 points. The defensive values truly are absurd. Su Chen shook his head. Standard physical blows and spell damage were all but useless in this place. But the moment that tiny damage figure appeared, a wash of emerald light spread across the stone golem's body. All things rot activated. Target inflicted with deadly poison status. God of Toxins activated. Deadly poison stacks maxed out instantly. In an instant, the previously aggressive golem's rocky exterior was stained with an eerie deep green hue. The next second, 53,947. A horrifying crimson damage number erupted above its head like a crashing waterfall. It ignored armor values, magic resistance, and the oppressive 60 damage reduction from stone carapace entirely. With a maximum stamina pool of 350, the golem's health bar didn't even get a chance to flicker before it emptied completely. The colossal rocky frame crumbled into a pile of broken stone chunks. Notice hardened stone golem level 10 slang experience plus 500. Notice trait misfortune drain triggered permanent +1 maximum poison stack capacity. Notice loot acquired X1 hardened stone core rare material. Su Chen's eyes lit up as he scanned the scrolling system alerts. 500 experience points, 5 times the standard reward. And the drop rate, is this generous? 2? Outside this realm, a level 10 monster only granted 100 experience at most. Yet, these secret realm mobs rewarded 500 each. On top of that, he'd obtained a rare material from just a single kill. A single core sells for 500 currency easily. Renewed vigor surged through him, and he waved his staff once more. Summon Corrosive Snake Warden. 2 more totems shot out of the earth, forming a triangular formation alongside the first warden. The 3 serpent constructs began firing continuous venom streams at the incoming pack of stone golems. 1,554,000 and 20,145 4,093. Boom, boom, boom. Wave after wave of stone golems collapsed like harvested wheat stalks. A single droplet of venom sealed their fate, unleashing over 50,000 true damage without any room for counterplay. Notice experience plus 500 notice. Experience plus 500 notice. Permanent poison stack limit plus 1 notice. Permanent poison stack limit plus 1. Su Chen stood rooted to the spot, watching his experience bar skyrocket and his poison capacity climb higher with each kill. Overwhelmed with pure exhilaration, unrestrained slaughter such as this was the true correct way to play this game. He gathered the scattered materials into his inventory as he advanced forward. Morfettet really was a trustworthy fellow. Beneath the ashen sky shrouded in swirling stone dust, Su Chen strolled casually through the boulder field, no longer bothering to lift his staff, letting his snake wardens automatically seek out and engage every nearby foe. A jet of dark green venom launched from a totem's serpent mouth, striking a freshly spawned stone golem dozens of meters away. All things rot activated. Target afflicted with deadly poison. God of Toxins activated. Deadly poison fully stacked. A sickly lethal green spread rapidly over the golem's thick rocky plating. Immediately afterward, 54,750, an impossibly large damage value bloomed overhead, akin to a nuclear detonation. No struggles, no gradual depletion of its health bar whatsoever. I'm far too overpowered with this build. Su Chen's grin widened steadily. These stone golems moved sluggishly and exclusively relied on melee attacks, posing less of a threat to Su Chen than low-level level 1 goblins. They were nothing more than immobile training dummies. Notice hardened stone golem slain experience plus 500. Notice trait misfortune drain triggered permanent +1 maximum poison stack capacity. Notice loot obtained 24 gold coins. 1x hardened stone core rare material. This monster farming efficiency and experience gain are incredible. Su Chen clicked his tongue as he watched materials and gold pile higher. After a quick rough calculation, an hour spent farming within this secret realm yielded more experience than days of grinding in the open world. Not to mention the drastically inflated loot drop chances. It makes perfect sense why major guilds pour massive fortunes just to obtain intel on secret realm locations. The rewards here are ridiculously unbalanced in favor of explorers. Su Chen sighed in admiration, while summoning additional snake wardens to push deeper into the zone. Each snake warden lasts 30 seconds upon summoning with only a 15-second cooldown. As long as he avoided spawning excessive numbers to drain his mana pool dry, he could maintain permanent uptime effortlessly. As he ventured inward, the surrounding mist thickened and the stifling dry atmosphere grew heavier by the minute. He rounded a massive circular stone crater and came to a halt. A dense horde of stone golems crowded the open ground ahead, numbering no fewer than 100 in total. They stood arranged like a silent stone army, completely blocking the path forward. Su Chen cast Detect Insight on the group. Monster Enhanced Rock Shell Colossus, Elite Level 13 Strength 130 Agility, 35 Stamina 500 Spirit, 20 Passive Ability. Absolute Rock Guard reduces all physical and magical damage taken by 90. Su Chen's eyelids twitched violently upon reading the ability description. 500 Stamina was already troublesome enough, paired with a flat 90% damage reduction. Is this some kind of bad joke? He peered past the mob swarm toward their rear. Dead center of the densely packed golem formation stood a 10-me-tall obsidian pillar carved with intricate runes. Waves of taupe aura emanated outward nonstop from its surface, covering a 500 radius. He targeted the pillar with another Detect Insight. Monster, Silent Soul Suppression Pillar, Iron Tier Boss Level 15 Strength, 1 Agility, 1 Stamina, 2000 Spirit, 1 Soul Suppression Aura. Grants the absolute rock guard buff to all stone-type monsters within a 500-meter radius, raising their damage reduction to 90. That's such a frustrating mechanic, Su Chen muttered to himself as he studied the pillar's stats. He now understood why elite guild teams from the outer world had failed to clear this area despite multiple attempts. This layered setup created an unbreakable deadlock for regular adventurers. 90% universal damage reduction rendered all conventional attacks meaningless. To eliminate the stone golems, one would first need to destroy the soul suppression pillar, fueling their defensive buff. Yet, the pillar held a massive 2,000-point stamina pool and was sealed behind wall after wall of level 13 elite golems. Standard parties would never carve a path through this damage-resistant horde just to reach the pillar. Even stealth-focused assassins who sneak past the mob wall cannot deal meaningful damage to the pillar at level 15. Every viable strategy eventually leads to exhausted mana and stamina reserves, leaving the team overwhelmed by the endless monster swarm. Su Chen stroked his chin thoughtfully. That reality only applied to ordinary groups. However, 90% damage reduction. Such let out a scoff and pointed his burst staff straight toward the mob cluster. Summon Corrosive Snake Warden, 100 mana points were deducted instantly. 10 dark purple totems erupted from the ground along the outer edge of the golem army. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Volleys of venom showered the front rank of enhanced rock shell colossi. 54,750 55,400. 82,354,896 blinding streams of crimson damage numbers surged upward from the mob mass, nearly obscuring the entire field of vision. Against his unmitigated true damage, the 90% damage resistance and 500 stamina pools were completely irrelevant. The tight clustering of the golems amplified the splash effect of his burst staff perfectly. When one golem perished, adjacent targets immediately contracted the stacked deadly poison debuff. Boom, 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 boom. A single wave of venom fire reduced dozens of level 13 elite stone golems to flying rock fragments in an instant. Notice level 13 Enhanced Rock Shell Colossus Elite slain via level gap damage experience plus 975. Notice level 13 Enhanced Rock Shell Colossus slain. Su Chen paid no mind to the collapsing stone debris as he walked directly toward the towering silent soul suppression pillar. His snake wardens operated as pinpoint-accurate turrets, dissolving every incoming elite golem into dust. In less than 2 minutes, Su Chen had cut a clear path through the monster tide and stood face-to-face with the 10M black pillar. 2,000 stamina, correct? Su Chen tilted his head upward to gaze at the pillar with a calm expression. A single venom stream impacted the pillar's surface. A flash of emerald light washed over its frame. 56,940. A sharp cracking sound echoed out, splitting the 2,000 stamina pillar straight down its core. It did not collapse immediately after the first strike. 4 consecutive massive damage values popped up in quick succession before the pillar crumbled entirely, kicking up a massive cloud of stone dust upon impact. The protective aura vanished completely the moment the pillar shattered. The remaining stone golems in the vicinity instantly lost their absolute rock guard buff. Notice Iron Tier Boss Silent Soul Suppression Pillar Level 15 eliminated successfully. Notice Experience plus 112,500. Notice your level has risen to level 11. Notice 5 free attribute points obtained. A golden level up glow wrapped around Su Chen's body, bringing a refreshing surge to his spiritual power, ignoring the leftover debuffed stone golems scattered around him. He focused on the glowing pile of loot spilling out. Several chunks, thick with earth elemental energy, lay alongside 2 bronze glinting pieces of equipment. Su Chen kicked aside a loose rock fragment with his toe and picked up the 2 faintly dark glimmering items. Massive stone greatsword iron, tier class requirement. Warrior level requirement 12 attributes. Strength plus 15. Physical attack bonus plus 2 rough stone dagger iron tier class requirement. Assassin type jobs level requirement 13 attributes. Agility plus 10. Strength plus 5. Su Chen skimmed the stat panels and shrugged dismissively. 2 generic iron tier pieces of equipment, neither compatible with my class. It seems all my lucky first kill loot chances went toward higher drop rates instead of valuable gear. He tossed both weapons into his inventory, planning to trade them for gold through the Adventurers Guild. He wasted no extra time and set about clearing out every remaining stone golem in the area. Each monster represented valuable experience after all. Once the surrounding area was purged of hostiles, he advanced deeper into the secret realm. Along the way, he encountered 3 more silent soul suppression pillars, each guarded by swarms of elite stone golems. No surprises followed, with his poison stacks exceeding 1,200 layers and overwhelming true damage output. The aura-buffed reinforced golems could never close the distance to attack him before dissolving into fine dust. The Venom suppression pillars could not endure even 10 full seconds of venom assault before shattering into stone rubble. Su Chen's experience bar climbed at an absurd rate while his inventory steadily filled with piles of collected materials. Roughly 1 hour later, Su Chen had wiped out every visible monster within the explored zone and reached level 12. After allocating his newly earned attribute points, his spirit stat rose to 81 points. Current poison stat count 1,274. My per second damage output has finally broken the 100,000 threshold. Su Chen calculated, confirming his DPS sat just above 100,000 damage per second. He was fully satisfied with this combat potency. He closed his status panel and walked through a narrow stone canyon, emerging into a wide circular basin. Perched motionless in the exact center of the obsidian field rested an enormous monster over 5 m tall, the giant silent gargoyle. Its body was forged from interwoven crimson crystal and black bedrock, with massive bat-shaped stone wings folded against its back. Its pair of scarlet eyes seemed capable of piercing straight through empty space itself. 6 black stone pillars stood arranged in a perfect hexag formation around the gargoyle. Each pillar's apex burned with a wisp of eerie green flame. 6 beams of green light streamed from the pillar tops and converged, coalescing into a translucent defensive energy shield visible to the naked eye. Su Chen paused his movement and instinctively cast Detect Insight. Monster King of Silent Gargoyles. Silver Tier Boss Level. 15 Strength, 2,500 Agility, 80 Stamina, 3,000 Spirit, 100 Skills. Rending Claw Strike, Stone Meteor Fall, Petrification Ray. Unique Passive. Leyline Bond. Receives continuous energy nourishment from the 6 leyline pillars. Defense increased by 500. Attack increased by 500. Immune to all crowd control effects. And regenerates 1 of maximum stamina every second upon the full destruction of all 6 pillars. This buff deactivates. The boss's strength and stamina revert to baseline values and it falls into a 100-second weakened state. Su Chen's eyelids twitched wildly as he scanned the lengthy list of attributes and passive effects. A silver tier boss. 3,000 stamina. 500% boosted defense. Plus passive 1% health regeneration each second. The designers practically wrote impossible to clear on its stat sheet. Su Chen let out a blunt curse under his breath. Is a secret realm for level 15 players really supposed to host a boss with stats this overwhelming? The Leyline Bond passive ability was crafted solely to frustrate any challengers. A 500% defense multiplier means standard physical and magical attacks will never break through its shield whatsoever. Add the constant health regeneration on top. Su Chen ran quick calculations in his mind. Unless the 6 surrounding pillars were destroyed within an extremely short window to sever its energy supply, any party's total damage output would be outpaced entirely by the boss's natural healing. Bypassing the fight mechanics is not an option here. The rules explicitly require destroying the pillars first before engaging the boss. Su Chen rested a hand on his chin and sighed. How is any group meant to tackle this encounter? Parties already deplete half their supplies fighting the 90% damage reduction golem hordes outside. By the time they reach the final boss, they must dismantle 6 pillars while under constant assault from the gargoyle itself. It's nothing short of cruel, numerical suppression paired with oppressive fight mechanics. This harsh reality only applied to other adventurers. However, Su Chen curled his lips into a sly grin. I've never been fond of following prescribed fight mechanics anyway. He completely ignored the 6 leyline pillars standing around the basin and aimed his burst staff directly at the Gargoyle King. Summoned Corrosive Snake Warden. Mana was deducted from his mana pool. Dense clusters of dark purple totems burst upward from the ground right in front of Su Chen. He summoned a full 100 Snake Warden totems in a single cast. The snake's head poked out, its scarlet tongue flickering in and out. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Dense jets of dark green venom sliced through the air like sharp arrows, traveling dozens of meters to strike the shield. The slumbering Gargoyle King jolted awake at once, letting out a deafening roar. It spread its massive stone wings wide, its crimson eyes locking firmly onto Su Chen. But just as it prepared to take flight, System Notice, Trait, All Things Rot activated, Target inflicted with the Poison debuff. System Notice, Trait, God of Venom activated. Poison stacks on target have reached the maximum cap. The dark green toxin pierced straight through the energy barrier that boasted a 500 defense boost, seeping directly into its dark red stony flesh. 103,194. A gigantic white damage value popped abruptly above the Gargoyle King's head, enough to make anyone's heart skip a beat. Su Chen's spirit stat sat at 81 points, raising his maximum poison stack limit to 1,274 layers. Every single second unleashed a burst of true damage totaling over 103,000 points. The Gargoyle King's colossal body stiffened rigidly. Cracks spread rapidly across its rocky exterior, and the dark red glow emanating from its form faded swiftly. A huge chunk of its health bar vanished in an instant. Even so, a silver-tier boss was no ordinary foe. Its staggering 3,000 stamina stat allowed it to endure this nearly lethal strike. The Gargoyle King let out a shrill, agonized wail. This meant the gargoyle possessed a total health points pool of 400,000. Different creatures converted stamina into health points at different ratios, and this monster gained a full 1,000 health points per point of stamina. Any warrior would salivate over such incredible vitality stats. Ignoring the ongoing poison damage, the Gargoyle King flapped its wings and charged violently towards Su Chen. Faced with the heavily wounded yet ferocious airborne gargoyle, Su Chen remained completely calm, a faint amused smile tugging at his lips. Truly worthy of being a silver-tier boss with such an immense health pool. I'll name you the toughest opponent I've faced so far. The words had barely left his mouth when the second tick arrived. 103,194. Another terrifying crimson damage number bloomed into view. The Gargoyle King's health plummeted sharply as it crashed headfirst into the swarm of corrosive snake guardians. 2,894,726,700. 85 strings of harsh damage values surfaced continuously. Several snake guardians were slain instantly. Not bad attack power. Su Chen had long retreated to a safe distance. The Gargoyle King was undeniably powerful, yet its intelligence seemed severely lacking. He wondered if its mind functioned on the same simplistic level as the common stone golems wandering the area. He silently counted down the passing seconds. Third second, 103,194 damage figures kept spawning nonstop, draining the Gargoyle King's health bar down to a sliver. It screeched shrilly, lifting its bulk into the air once more. Its blood-red gaze cut through the wall of snake guardians, zeroing in solely on Su Chen. Without hesitation, it dove straight down toward him at blistering speed, appearing above his head in the blink of an eye. Tough foes are never scary. The dangerous ones are the tough foes who can think for themselves. Su Chen's eyelids twitched with alarm. His earlier plan to hide behind the snake pillars and safely whittle down the boss had never been going to be that simple. In this world, mighty creatures were always blessed with matching cognitive capacity. Still, Su Chen had countermeasures ready. His expression hardened, and he pushed off the ground with all his leg strength, triggering absolute charge, the skill granted by his leg armor. His body transformed into a sleek black streak, shooting upward into the sky. The skill description stated, it enabled rapid charges in any direction, so charging vertically upward was well within its intended function. The rules of this world had long been flexible enough to accommodate such usage. Anyway, bam! Su Chen drove his knee hard into the stunned Gargoyle King's torso. A pitifully small damage value floated upward. Nevertheless, the Gargoyle King froze for a split second, falling into a brief stun state. Su Chen landed steadily on the ground a moment later. At that exact moment, 103,194 crash, the Gargoyle King had barely regained its senses midair when its entire body exploded violently into pieces. Dark red crystal shards and black stone fragments showered down like hail, clattering loudly against the obsidian ground. The six-lay pillars that had sustained the boss's protective shield dimmed instantly upon its death before crumbling to the ground. You have slain the level 15 King of Silent Gargoyle Silver Tier boss. System Notice Experience Gain plus 8,250,000 bonus for defeating a higher level enemy. System Notice. Trait Doom Siphon activated. Permanent +1 maximum poison stack limit. Amid the constant stream of system alerts, a brilliant golden pillar of light erupted from Su Chen's body. Your level has risen to level 13. You have obtained 5 free attribute points. That was a thoroughly satisfying battle. Su Chen allocated his newly earned points casually and let out a deep sigh of relief. His experience gain had skyrocketed at an unbelievable pace. In under 2 hours inside the secret realm, he had leveled up 3.5 times. Now sitting at level 13 with 46 experience toward his next upgrade. If he shared this leveling speed in his school group chat, his teacher old, he would be utterly stunned. His greatest anticipation, however, rested on the pile of wreckage where the boss had fallen. Multiple dazzling beams of light shimmered amid the rubble. A massive loot drop. Loot from a silver tier boss was guaranteed to be exceptional. Su Chen strode forward and spotted 2 silver glowing pieces of equipment amid the stone debris and crafting materials. One was a dark red leather armor piece, and the other was a weathered graystone necklace. He picked up the leather armor first. 210 increased movement speed, solid gear. Though it's useless for my builds, shook his head, and stowed the armor in his inventory. Such top-tier silver equipment would fetch an astronomical price. If sold at the city's trade firm, he then lifted the graystone necklace. Its pendant was carved into a miniature gargoyle head, cold to the present touch and radiating a heavy, imposing aura. Stalwart. Gargoyle necklace. Silver tier class requirement. Non-universal level requirement. 13 attributes. Stamina plus 25, spirit plus 15, AX1 plus 10 maximum health points. Active skill Absolute Petrify. Upon activation, the user enters a petrify state lasting 15 seconds. While petrified, the user cannot move, attack, or cast any skills, but receives a 99 reduction to all incoming damage. Cooldown 1 hour. Su Chen's eyes widened sharply as he read the necklace's stats and skill effect. This piece of equipment actually comes with an active skill. In this world, a fraction of gear pieces carried inherent skills split into active and passive variants. Such items sold for several times the price of ordinary equipment of the same tier that only granted raw attribute bonuses. For most classes, however, this necklace's skill was little more than a cumbersome burden bordering on suicidal in practice during fast-paced combat. Being immobilized, unable to attack or cast skills for 15 seconds left user completely exposed to enemy assaults. While the 99 damage mitigation sounded impressive, being surrounded by swarms of monsters or enduring sustained area of effect damage from powerful bosses meant certain doom once the petrification wore off. Enemies would remain clustered around the defenseless user, worsening the overall predicament. The skill only had niche uses, buying time to wait for teammate rescues or blocking unavoidable massive one-hit damage. For solo players, Activating this ability was practically equivalent to surrendering. For Su Chen, however, this skill was an unmatched god-tier ability. A flawless battle strategy instantly formed inside his mind. My corrosive snake guardians are independent summons that automatically seek targets and attack on their own. If I ever face an overwhelmingly fast, high-damage elite boss or foes with large-scale clearing abilities, I can first deploy my full formation of snake guardians, then immediately activate Absolute Petrify. For those 15 seconds, I become an unbreakable statue with 99 damage resistance, while my snake guardians pour relentless damage onto the boss nonstop. 15 seconds is more than enough to rack up millions in total damage output. Su Chen let out a hearty laugh. This necklace had arrived at the perfect moment to fix his biggest weakness, poor personal survivability. His poison damage output was devastating, yet swift opponents could take him out before he landed his toxic stacks, rendering his high damage meaningless. This necklace perfectly patched his most critical flaw at his current stage of power. It's like this item was tailor-made just for me. Satisfied beyond measure, Su Chen fastened the stalwart gargoyle necklace around his neck without hesitation. A cool surge of energy washed over his entire body the instant it touched his skin. He patted his chest contentedly before gathering all leftover crafting materials and gold coins into his inventory. This trip into the secret realm had yielded extraordinary rewards. He pulled up his current character stats panel. Class Venom Mage SSS unique hidden class level. 13 strength, 22 agility, 20 stamina, 137 spirit, 100 exclusive class traits. All things rot. God of Venom. Doom Siphon skills. Corrosive Snake Guardian summon. Current poison stack count 1275. Blast Staff Iron tier. Sturdy Iron Chest Plate Iron tier. Bloodthirsty Boar Hide Leg Guards Bronze tier. Summoning Ring Iron tier. Stalwart Gargoyle Necklace Silver tier. With 1275 poison layers stacked up now, no creature under heaven can withstand a single dose of my venom. Su Chen was fully pleased with his current build. Just then, a low rumble echoed across the sky above the secret realm. Fractures spread across the murky heavens, and the surrounding stone pillars shook violently. System notice. The secret realm's core has been destroyed. The realm will collapse and seal itself in 5 minutes. System notice. Summoning a transfer portal for your evacuation. A glowing blue portal materialized slowly directly in front of Su Chen. Time to head back. Su Chen stretched his limbs and stepped into the glowing portal.